just
Nice.
made Dr. Katta host and
लाइव ऑन यूट्यूब हो गया अभी?
yes. साउंड आया क्या? 780 275 789
We are live, huh, Swapnil?
Maybe I'm just checking the website.
It is live on Rosa YouTube channel, but sound is not there. Even on the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I don't know what is the issue. Hello.
सर लाइव में ही कोई प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है ऑडियो में।
नहीं, YouTube पे है. There is. I can hear sound on the YouTube channel.
सर रोजा पे लाइव हो गया है अभी एंड साउंड भी बराबर आ रहा है. आई थिंक वी शुड गो अहेड.
Rahul, you should start now.
Okay, Rahul.
Rahul,
Swapnil, you can talk to him over telephone. No?
Rahul.
Oh, sorry. So now everything is streamed now on both the
We are live
platforms.
now
Sorry.
and the voice is out.
Yeah. So everything is sorry for the interruption and the problem. So should we start again with Dr. Mohanty? Yeah. So
Yes.
good evening. So good evening, everyone. To start with, we have a very good webinar for the technology and computer skills today, along with the Bombay Orthopedic Society, with galaxy of the speakers and the faculty member. To start this meeting, I would like to invite the President, Bombay Orthopedic Society, Dr. S.S. Mohanty, for his welcome address. Dr. Mohanty, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Rahul. Dear friends, good evening to you. Greetings from Mumbai, and I welcome you all on behalf of the Bombay Orthopedic Society. It's a pleasure and honor to get associated with Rajasthan Orthopedic Surgeons Association, ROJA. This pandemic, we have got this opportunity to get this association, and that too on a digital platform, and talking about the digital orthopod. Now, as time goes on, as we progress, technology also advances, and to keep up with the pace of the technology, we must learn that how to utilize it into our orthopedic practice. Hence, dear friends, now our apologies because of some technical glitch that we are getting late. I welcome all the faculty, and we are also grateful to all the faculty from ROSA as well as the Bombay Orthopedic Society for joining this webinar and providing us to update our knowledge. I thank the President of ROSA, Dr. Rajesh Goyal, and the Honorary Secretary, Dr. Rahul Katta, for this opportunity. And thank you all. Let's start the webinar.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Rajesh Goyal, President ROSA, for his welcome address.
Good evening, dear friends. On behalf of ROSA members, I welcome you all. We feel proud to be associated with BOS, and I pay my gratitude to the President BOS, Dr. Mohanty, and the young dynamic Secretary, Dr. Swapnil, to make it possible this webinar. I am a member of BOS, and I know it is one of the most popular programs in BOS list. And I am sure whether you are a resident, whether you are a young orthopedic surgeon or a senior member of orthopedic fraternity, you always need this type of digital platform and digital learning where you want to secure your footprint, where you want to present in a better way, how to present your presentation, and how to do all the digital manipulations and the presentations. And thank you very much for this. And I hand over to Dr. Rahul again.
So thank you so much, sir. Now we officially start today's symposium. I have Dr. Swapnil Kenny with me as a moderator, Dr. Mahesh Khade and Dr. Kshitij Chaudhary as the convener, and a galaxy of the faculty members, Dr. Vaibhav, Dr. Mandara Gase, Dr. Darshil Shah, and Dr. Dipit Sahu. So over to Dr. Swapnil to start the proceedings of the meeting.
You have to unmute. You have to unmute. So.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rahul. It is indeed a privilege to be a guest on the Rajasthan Orthopedic Surgeons Association's channel. And it is fittingly right that a symposium on technology should always start with a technology glitch, because this is something which is quite common. So it is the Murphy's Law, and it has hopefully averaged us out for now. Before I really go on to the speakers, let me just thank two other people other than Dr. Kshitij and Dr. Mahesh. That is Dr. Neeraj Bijlani and Dr. Kapil Gangwal for being here as the expert panelists along with us. And let us now begin. The first session is essentially about safety. So in orthopedics, we are extremely careful about our protocols, about our surgeries, about our post-operative strategies. And the same is very, very important when it comes to computer sciences and computer skills. So the first session is going to be called as a stitch in time. And the two speakers in the session are Dr. Mahesh Khade and Dr. Vaibhav Bagadia. So may I now invite Dr. Mahesh Khade, who is a consultant orthopedic surgeon and a tech enthusiast, and who has done a significant and commendable amount of work on safety in computer technology and in the digital world, to kindly present his talk on phishing, how not to bite the bait. Over to Dr. Mahesh Khade.
Thank you, Swapnil. Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is fine and staying fit and healthy. I think these webinars are going to be the next for 1 year. And let's come back to our topic, the digital orthopod. Today, my topic is phishing, and let's begin. This quote changed all. In today's era, not knowing technology can't be an excuse. Over the last 20 years, whatever I have learned in technology, I have shared it with my friends all across the world. Whatever I learned in phishing over the last 5 years, I'm sharing with you today. I thank Rajasthan Orthopedic Surgeons Association and Bombay Orthopedic Society for giving me an opportunity and the audience to present my work. So what exactly is phishing? Phishing is the attempt to acquire information by disguising as a trustworthy entity in an electronic communication. Simply put, it is online cheating. So fraudsters or the hackers send fake emails or set up fake websites that trick you into disclosing your username and password so they can rob you of your money, of your privacy. We'll come to it. These are few of the phishing scams. So unusual activity scams. Look here. Early morning, I received this email with some unusual activity and something from Ghana. So in the panic mode, we tend to click on the links, and that is how phishing starts. We'll talk about this in detail later. Security scam. This is the most common one. look here. Now there is some link here. So outlook.com temporary block. So again, the same panic mode. We click somewhere and phishing starts. So this is how once you click here, you go to some other website, which is not the intended one. Automatic payment scam. This is your SMS or email. Your auto payment cannot be processed. So again, what to do? So click here. So all these links, I'll tell you whether they're genuine, how to identify they're genuine or not, and how to prevent yourself from getting phished. The domain name scam. Now go through these websites. Can you guess which is the right one? Amazon.com, second is Amazon.DiwaliFestivals.com, Amazon.com/DiwaliFestivals. Any guesses? You can send your answers in the comment section. This is the right one, Amazon.com. Now just remember one thing. Anything before the .com, this is the name of the site. So Diwali Festivals is the actual site, not Amazon. So this Amazon.com is correct. This Diwali Festivals is a different site than Amazon. This is also right because Amazon.com has launched something, say for Diwali, some festivals. So anything coming after the slash can be the site of the original site. Whereas anything coming before .com is the name of that site, not Amazon. Just remember this. Next, I'll show you 3 sites and quickly identify which one is the right one. Now remember, I'm showing you individual names. In real life scenario, this is not how the site is going to come to you. We will have an example of that later in our talk. But now see these sites. Okay, could you guess? Now there are 4 lines. Can you spot the mistakes? Take your time.
So we cannot see
So mistake number 1.
Your PowerPoint is not moving. Mahesh sir, can you hear me?
Mahesh is freezed.
So Zoom does have this issue of crashing and freezing with Mac.
Okay.
So we'll just give him a few seconds. It does restart on its own.
So I think in the meanwhile, since he comes back, just a few things. Now, many a times you see, suddenly you see that, a pen company like Montblanc is offering you 70% discounts on their products. And this really happened to a friend of ours where a SMS came that there is a 70% discount on Montblanc products. So what was available for about 21,000, he was getting for about 7,000. So he immediately called me up saying that, this is like available and it's a throwaway discount. And eventually when we saw the site, we realized that it was a phishing site. So I think these are quite common in today's day and age, and specifically when you get these kind of advertisements where you get a lot of significant amount of discounts. The second example again is probably when it's about products, very, very similar, where you go to see a particular product which looks like an original product, but is not the same. But it seems to be, kind of matching that product. So that is also probably something which we have to be really careful about when we, when we are on the digital web, because that is essentially, a big problem.
In my Hotmail account, many times I see in the junk mail what Mahesh had shown, that your account is going to get closed, so please update your username, password. Then you click there. and all these things. And we open that email, then click on the phishing. So that goes away. There is a phishing, on the bar, there is a phishing or block these.
Block the email.
Either you block or you have to click phishing. Then you have to click phishing probably.
It's quite common, and I think with now with this lockdown period, and all of us managing a lot of our time online,
Yeah.
including online shopping and emails and everything, even meetings, it is quite possible that some of us may be taken for a ride.
Swapnil, can we go to Vaibhav's presentation if Mahesh by the time can get ready?
I think so. Dr. Rahul, can we go to the next?
Sure. We should proceed for the next one.
Next one, right?
Time you can contact Mahesh over telephone and just.
Yeah, I'll do that. So I think Dr. Mahesh is having some issues connecting, and there is some problem in his area and his internet connection. So may I now request the next speaker, Dr. Vaibhav Bagaria. Dr. Vaibhav Bagaria is an orthopedic surgeon attached to the HN Reliance Hospital, and he's going to be speaking on a very, very interesting topic. And this is how to protect your digital footprint. Now, all of us have a certain digital identity, and this digital identity makes us vulnerable to different kinds of web attacks by hackers or different people who can get into our profile and can misuse it. So I now hand over the proceedings to Dr. Vaibhav on how to protect your digital footprint. Dr. Vaibhav Bagaria.
Am I visible, Swapnil? Is my screen visible? Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So thank you, Swapnil, and thank you all the members of ROSA, and in particular Dr. Rahul Katta for giving us an opportunity for presenting this talk. Now, as we are all aware that the safety, security, and privacy is something very important in this digital world. And why is this important? As an orthopedic surgeon, as a medical person, do we really need to think about these things? And why do we need to think about these things? Now, in many ways, it's already tomorrow in this world. If you look at the old and new ways, the cash has been replaced by digital payment. Our libraries have been converted to online resources. The famous national societies now are merging, and world is seemingly a flat organization today. Conferences are being replaced by webinars. Our massive OPDs now and slowly are getting into video consult modes. And this is a bit of controversial topic, but I really think that the time of eminent surgeons and eminence-based surgery will be sooner or later be replaced by technology, artificial intelligence, and robotics, with whom we'll work together. And since this is a talk on a digital platform, one of my favorite authors, Yuval Noah Harari, I would recommend all of us here or all of you there to read about this, because these two books have some invaluable lessons in how the digital world is going to transform. In fact, Corona epidemic has already shown that it has become a very important change, and that we are hurling towards a future in a no time. But as we know that with any change, there comes challenges, and change is hardest at the beginning, messiest in the middle, and best at the end. So we are somewhere in the beginning and in the middle stage of this digital transformation. And so we have to deal with a lot of issues, and we have all heard about cybercrime. And if you look at this, there are a variety of cybercrime that are happening, from simple email crimes that we were just discussing to cyber theft, which involve internet time theft, identity theft, and theft of telecommunication services, hacking, which could be online, email, network, password hacking, financial crimes like cyber laundering, credit card fraud, salami attacks, online gambling, cyber squatting, malicious code, denial of services, cyber pornography, cyber stalking, and so many. So if you look at the permutation and combination, some of this we may have heard, but majority of this are known to cybersecurity experts. So in short, we are out there and we are vulnerable. And why are we vulnerable? Because we are attractive. we are attractive even if you have small amount of money, if you have data, if you have a place of work. And remember that it is not personal, and it is living in a fool's paradise to think that it can't happen to you. It can happen to the most so-called secure individuals, to someone who has not visited any sites apart from their work, if you have very little money or even very little data. So everyone in today's world is vulnerable to an attack. So today's talk, we'll talk on three things: safety, security, and privacy. For most people, these terms are interchangeable. So since this is an interactive talk, but at this moment, it will be more of a monologue, I will just briefly tell you what's the difference between safety and security in very simple terms. So if you lock your house, that's a safety thing. But the guard outside your building is a security measure. The webcam outside your house is a security measure. If you're doing a web tracking of things or using devices to ensure that there is alarm, that's a secure measure. So the safety is a very simple thing in which you are not anticipating any attack, and you are doing just as a matter of habit. Whereas security is something in which you are adding to your safety by. I think this sound is yeah. So security is something that you add. For example, in normal circumstances, if you are driving on a road, you are wearing a helmet and you are driving and following the traffic rule. That's your safety thing. But suppose you are going in an area which is war torn, then you will use a convoy to protect yourself. You will use a Hummer, or you will use a water or a bulletproof car. That's a secure system. And privacy is something that needs to be protecting your identity, your own data, because there are people who are just prying into you. So for example, if you put a curtain on your windows in your house, if you're living in a apartment complex, then you're using measures to dim the light or to avoid or use a tinted glass. That's the privacy. So we must understand what's the difference between safety, security, and data privacy. All three are important at different times, and we'll see how we need to tackle that. As I said, the first and foremost is safety. And the safety, the simplest thing is about passwords. And I'm sure Mahesh will touch upon this. But for password, you should not never pick a weak password, like 123456 ABCD 123, your date of birth, your son's name, your daughter's name. I think that's that makes you a sitting duck for all the hackers. Use multi-factor authentication whenever it's possible. If you have a biometric option, which we have like face recognition or fingerprinting, take it. Remember, different account needs different passwords. So don't use same password for all your accounts. Certain systems, for example, iOS allows you to have password manager. And it's a good idea to use password manager. And again, a common sense thing, do not share password and update it regularly. So these are all common sense things, but we do not follow them very meticulously. But as a very minimum thing, I would stress that all of us need to do that. Now coming to more complex part of it, in today's talk, which usually most people don't pay attention to, are the 5 commandments to this safety security business. The first is we'll talk about emails. The second is about third-party cookies. Third is the social media. Fourth is your browser, and fifth is using VPN. And these are in increasing orders of security that you need to adopt. So the very basic is about your emails, and most people would be using email. And then we'll go on to more sophisticated things. Coming to emails. Now, there are ways in which you can protect your emails. One is using alias, which is using a forwarding address. The second is disposable email, where you create a new email account with a fake name or use it for duration of your need for a disposable email. So sometimes you are asked to sign up for so many things, including Zoom, other things. So it may be a good idea to use a disposable email in that case. But I think the workhorse here is having 3 emails IDs. So this is my personal thing, and I don't have a scientific basis or a cybersecurity expert behind me who says this. So this is what I follow in my personal life. I keep 3 emails. One is for my hospital and clinical work, which is more formal and which will have my doctor title. So my professional email is drbagaria@gmail.com. And then I've got one email which I use for all my banking transaction, all my personal communication with my friends, my colleagues, my relatives, but which are non-professional in nature, and that I keep as sacrosanct and a very private stuff. And third is an email which does not disclose my identity at all. For example, you can keep it as Rajasthan Ortho, or the hip boy, or the hip guy, or anything of that sort at gmail.com. And this is the email that you should use to sign up for any kind of service, including your Amazon, Paytm, if you are signing up for newsletter, because that's an email ID which will go and which will not disclose your identity. If it gets hacked, you are not bothered. And you would also segregate your work. For example, anything coming out on that email is not very essential. It will usually be a promotional material because people have that access. Something coming to your middle one, which is your friends, family, relatives, or official work, your bank, is an important email which you should have on your mobile, on your laptop, in everything, because any notification that will come is very important. And third, which is your orthopedic or your clinic email, which includes doctor, which will give you one professional approach in front of your patient, should be on your work email. You would not want it to be disturbed. Certain organizations do give you it as default. For example, your institution may give you that, but it is also a good idea to have a personal email saying drbagaria@gmail.com or something of that sort. So I have drbagaria@gmail.com, which I give to patients for the communication. So I think this is one simple step that I would suggest that every one of us must do. Now coming to third-party cookies. Now that's another step. So third-party cookies are primarily used for collecting information on our behavior across multiple websites. These type of cookies enable advertiser to create profile about us. So if you look, so these are sort of a way to kind of know what we are, who we are. Many of you must have heard about Cambridge Analytica. So even one click on your Facebook or Twitter or the site you visit, they have information about your character, about your mindset, your leaning, and this data can be used to manipulate what you see, what you do, or what you think. So it's important to disable third-party cookies time to time. And it is very simple. So I'm talking about Mac. So if you go to Safari, if you click on Safari, there is a preference tab. If you click on the Safari and the preference drop-down comes, you can go to privacy and you can have block all cookies. So if you do that, your cookies will not be able to trace you. But mind you, certain banking transactions need these cookies to be enabled for you to access the net banking. In my last lecture, I told this, and many people did it, and some people had difficulty because some Indian banks do not allow the access without the cookies, and that can prevent them from getting access to their net banking. But intermittently, it is a good idea to block all cookies. Social media. Now, no one in this world is, I think very rarely there is someone in this world who has been untouched with the presence of social media. But we must remember that we are being watched whenever we are posting or doing anything on the social media. Now, what we should do on social media? So social media is like our digital billboard. We must update our privacy setting, and most of the time it is visible to everyone, which we should change. Avoid tagging, especially your kids, you should not tag. Avoid tagging people without their permissions. Always consider carefully the personal details that you provide on these. Coming to photos, that's very important. We think that photo is innocuous. For example, the photo behind me or my screenshot, if you look, tells a lot of things about my thing. So I've got my kid's photograph, the other photographs, it also tells my leaving. So any photograph that you post, you should be very careful. It gives a lot of information, including your physical GPS location. For example, if you have posted a photograph with your kid or with your daughter in front of her high school or your school, anyone who is looking through your Facebook profile will know who your daughter is, which school she goes, who are their friends. So be very careful with photograph. Last but not least, do not post any hate or regret message. They are your signs that you are leaving. So even if you hate someone, even if you politically do not believe in any ideology, you should not post any such message on Facebook or any other social media platform. And if you are apologizing to someone, never do it publicly on these Facebook. It stays. So if you have said something which you want to say sorry, if you want to retract a statement, ensure that it is not done, because it can be misused by someone in future. May not be the person to whom you have apologized, but somewhere else. So do not post any hate or regret message on digital billboard. So there are there's a lot of way of how to handle this, but there are three key things that I would want to tell you here. One is about Facebook. Again, separate your professional life from your personal life, and a way to do it. And as I said, it's become so intertwined that sometimes it is difficult. Now, Facebook offers an option of creating a page. For example, if I am Vaibhav Bagaria, that's my Facebook thing. But if you look at the page that I would create for my clinic, it will be Dr. Bagaria's clinic. And you should allow your patients who have put you a request as a friend request to follow or become a member of that Facebook page, but not your personal profiles. Similarly, if you are having a Twitter, I prefer to have 2 accounts, and Twitter allows that. One is professional, which is Orthomatic, which I use for posting the orthopedic related stuff. And the other one is for my personal opinion. If something that I want or I feel about, I post it. So don't mix your professional and personal life. Similarly, WhatsApp. Most patients expect us to give us their numbers or WhatsApp number. Again, the WhatsApp allows you to have a business account, and you can have 2 accounts on the same phone. So it's a good idea to have a business account which is separate from your personal account, so that in case you require to do something, or you have to move, or you have to find some annoying thing, it is not on your personal number. So I would sincerely recommend that every practitioner have 2 different accounts. Another thing is our browsers. We feel that whatever we browse is very secure. Now, there are 2 ways to secure browsers. One is something that is called as private browsing, and the second is secure browsing. So first, let me talk about the private browsing. Private browsing is a very simple thing. If you go to your Safari or any Explorer, it gives you an option to have a new private window, just like the one that I've shown here. So by default, a new window opens when you do a Command N. But if you do a Command Shift N, or you click the tab, it comes as new private window, and the top taskbar that you can see turns into a gray kind of thing. That means that if you are doing that, next time when you open, no one who is using the same computer will be able to know what you had access on that computer. So while on home computer, it has got no relevance or very little relevance, unless you are having someone in your home you don't want to show what you are surfing on. In an office setting, it's very important to use these private browsers to avoid people knowing what you are looking at. So once you do that, it will say private browsing enabled, and it will keep a browsing history private for all tabs in the window. And once you have closed this window, it won't remember the pages that you have visited or any autofill information. It's a good idea to use this private browser, especially when you're using a common computer. Now, but if you want to do something more than that, when you want it to be completely anonymous, you can use what is called as a secure browsing, because you're simply enabling the private browsing will only preventing your browsing history from being stored on your computer, but the search engines will know what you visited. So if you want to even avoid that, you can use a secure browser like Epic, DuckDuckGo, and there are many more which are secure browsers, and this will prevent any website from tracking you. So there's a difference. One is the private mode, where you don't want your colleagues and other people to know, and second is you don't want anyone, including the browser, to know where you visited. So you can use a secure browser like an Epic to do this. Third is managing website data. So I think one thing that you can all do after this talk is over is to again go to your Safari and click on the manage website data. And I'll just show you how many data or how many sites track you. So I'm going live and showing you. Is my desktop visible?
Yes.
Yeah. So you can see I'm going to the new window, and I'm just clicking here to show the preferences here. Okay. So I go here and I click on privacy here, and I just put manage website data, and it is loading what all websites is tracking me. And you can see that there is a variety of sites, and you'll see how many of these are tracking me, and I've never visited them. So if you look into this, so these many people are looking into what I'm doing. I don't even know these sites, including the bet365.com. I've never visited. So you can see there are so many websites that is doing that. A good thing is to remove all once in a while. It will make your work slightly difficult, because every time you do this, then you will find that you have to type in all data. So I'm doing this remove all right now, and you'll show that 308 websites who are tracking me into at the moment. And if I do that, they will remove all the data from all the sites. So I'm doing that, and it will kind of remove all the data. So once in a while, I would suggest that you should make a attempt to remove all these tracking sites from your computer every now and then. Now, as I said, you do this and remove all. Now, final frontier, and if you really want to be secure or you're using a public Wi-Fi, it's a good thing to use what is called as VPN. So every time when we log into something, we have got an IP address that identifies us on the internet. And it can help us track what is happening and what we are doing on the net. So whenever we are using a public Wi-Fi, or when we are doing certain things where we want to become more secure, VPN is a good thing. It's an advanced thing, and I would not recommend it for everyone, but those of you who are interested can do this VPN thing. We do a workshop on digital orthopod and we teach. So normally when we are sitting on the internet, this is us. We ask for something and we get back an information. Now what VPN does is it clouds us. So instead of showing us who is the person who has put in this information or asked the information to server, there's something in between which will kind of tell where this thing is originated from. So it obscures your identity. So even if I'm originating in India, it will route it to certain sites elsewhere, and then this information will go to this. It's like asking that if I'm asking Dr. Rajesh a question, but I don't want to do it directly on this Zoom, I would type into Swapnil and ask Swapnil that Swapnil, please ask Dr. Rajesh Goel what is happening or whether we are live or not, because I don't want people to know that I am communicating with Dr. Rajesh Goel. So that is something that VPN does. And there are many VPNs available, from NordVPN, private VPNs, TunnelBear, Cybercrime, Norton, different types of VPN. I use Proton VPN, and I think that is good. So I thank you for your attention. In short, what I would want to tell is that you must understand your safety, security, and privacy. All the three are very important to protect your digital footprint, because we are in a digital world and there's no escaping crime in this. And it's a good idea to get started even now. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Vaibhav. That was a very informative and an eye-opener, I would say. And of course, what you've told us is that despite we feeling however secure we are buying the best possible equipment, we are still going to be vulnerable to people watching us and people having ulterior motives. So we'll now open this talk to the panel for question and answers, and also if Dr. Rahul could post any questions coming in from our audience. And the panelists, Dr. Kapil Gangwal, Dr. Neeraj Bijlani, and the other faculty, I urge you all, if you have any questions, you can ask Dr. Bagadia.
We have a couple of questions, but first our panelists, if they want to ask some questions.
So Vaibhav, when you say these clearing of the cookies and distraction of the sites, I know that you and me are Mac users, but sometimes when we conduct these courses, Windows people say that we are left in the dark, that we don't have any option. So are there any similar viewpoints on Chrome, or are you using Chrome on a daily basis, or you use only Safari?
So yeah, I'm sure that there are because all the browsers would have same characteristics. I'm not using Chrome. I'm not using any other browser, so I don't know the exact thing. But I'm sure if you just type in how to clear cookies on Microsoft Internet Explorer, so it would just come. So I think every software, every browser allows that, and it would be simple. You have to go in the preference, and it would be there. It would allow it. I have not used it for last 10-15 years, so I'm not sure of how to do it, but I'm sure that it is there.
Vaibhav, I have a question for you. Sorry. Yeah, may I? Vaibhav? Yeah, so you said that, you subscribe to certain services like Amazon. Now, many of these services, especially Amazon Prime or Amazon account, they require your credit card details, and you said that, you have a separate email account. So would you also recommend to have a separate kind of a credit card or a debit card linked to these accounts, which has got a limited amount of funds and which are not, directly connected to your own bank account, or some sort of a prepaid card?
Yeah, no, I'm completely for that. I think credit card limit should be very limited. See, for us who, unlike Americans who live on credit, I think Indians don't live on credit. We want to clear our credit card bill every month. So there is no rationale of having any credit card with a limit more than 50,000. And I'm saying it's not that you can't purchase beyond 50,000 things, but having a limit of 50,000. So suppose you want to purchase something which is like 2 lakh rupees, you can just top it up with 1,50,000 and you'll have a 2 lakh limit. So for me, I always keep the limit less than 50,000. In fact, my limit is 33,000 only, and which is there since my student days at KEM. 20 years we maintained 33,000 rupees, because I've never asked for a credit upgrade, although I get a call every now and then for asking for increasing the credit. What I do is, suppose if I have to buy an airline ticket or buy an expensive thing, I just put the money in credit card, and that automatically enhances my limit. So that way I'm not bothered about sharing my credit card detail ever in this, because I know the maximum amount that someone can steal is a certain X amount, which is okay. I mean, I think the worst part of digital hacking or digital problem is the headache that it ensues. You going to complain, you getting the whole thing. Of course, it's a loss, but the loss can be borne if it is less. But the whole hassle of going to the police, getting a complaint, getting an insurance thing. But if you had a very small amount of money on it, you would just put in a complaint and forget about it, and it would come back someday. But you will not have the heartburn. So my advice is strictly to have a credit card with a reasonable limit, not very small, but whatever you think is right. When you use it in a month's time, you should use it. Don't be bothered about an occasional expenditure which is substantially more than your credit limit, because you can always go to your internet banking, top up the card, and no one stops that transaction. The only downside to do this, which I have told and I have not experienced, is that if you're using more than your credit limit every month, then it downgrades your CIBIL rating, which is your credit rating. I'm not sure of that if it happens in India. If it happens, it will be a very minor adjustment in your ratings, because as a surgeons, as a doctor, our ratings are usually high. So I would strongly recommend having a credit card, and only having a credit card use, not debit card use on your for any of your digital sites, and a credit card with a small limit.
Vaibhav, can I ask a question?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so there is, whenever we probably pay on site, there is always a question: save this card for faster payments. So how safe is it, and how, I mean, is it recommended that?
So for sites that you usually use, for example, Vodafone, Amazon, I have saved the cards. But for the sites, so it is again, if it's a risk benefit ratio. I know my risk. One, I have already secured my risk by lowering the credit limit.
Right.
I know these are the sites which I'll be using regularly. So the benefit of saving the card is the speed.
Correct.
Okay. The downside is that somewhere this information is on the net.
Right.
Amazon and Vodafone are very secure, so that leaking of that information makes a big headline. So relatively safer to do it with bigger sites and something that you use often. So your benefits are more than the risk that you are taking. Then take it. So typically 5 to 6 sites I will save my card information, but not more than that.
Right.
We have a couple of questions from Dr. J. Maheshwari from Delhi.
Yes, sir.
So I'll take one by one. So he's asking, he's having credit as well as debit card both. Which is safer, more safer?
Credit card.
Credit card.
Yeah.
So
because there is a limit
reasoning you have already, yeah.
Unless your account has very less money, or the alternative is, if you are wanting to use debit card, is to again have a 2 banking account. One which will have your maximum cash or your amount, and the second which is your day-to-day affair account, in which you do maximum transaction, but you keep a very limited money. So it in effect behaves like a credit card.
So one more thing, I will just add to that. Usually if there is a credit card fraud or a debit card fraud, many a times they ask you if your OTP has been used. So if you have not given an OTP, it is a very good evidence in your favor. And usually that tends to settle the matter. So that's again something which is very, very important. Yes. So it has to be OTP based always.
So another question is, whenever one downloads an app, the usual question asked is permission to access your contacts, and we generally allow. Is this okay?
again, it depends on which site is asking. So if you've got standard, see, many of these sites ask, and there's no option. For example, WhatsApp, if you deny contact, you can't have any communication. So any communication site will ask for, and you'll have to grant it to get the full benefit of it. Some websites do not need, I mean, you can check off the contact thing and still work.
One more question. In private window, when you are browsing, so it is difficult to remember the history and the other things. What is the solution?
So yeah, so that is, it is meant to not record the history.
Yeah.
So if you're not doing anything which requires a private browsing, I mean, it's not a standard thing. So if you're doing your own laptop, if you're doing in your home, you don't need private browsing. So it is, as I said, the security. So safety is the password part. The security is depend on what your threat perception is. It's just like if your threat perception is very low, you don't need all that tamjham. But if you're going in an area where you know that you'll be stoned, you better wear protective gear and use all the resources that you have. So your threat perception is your own.
One more question. Why having a separate business account on WhatsApp helps?
No, so again, it's a personal choice. It's not mandated. I feel that you should keep your personal number separate from your professional number. And this is because I feel that sometimes, unlike in West, where I would never receive a call from a patient for small things, even if they had a major issue, they would probably call the call center. Here, even if they have to, one night I received a call whether I should eat mango or not. I'm just saying, a TKR patient asking me whether I should eat mango at 11:30 in the night when you are sleeping. I mean, that is the thing. So if you have a business account, no one will be able to call you, and all your communication can be on WhatsApp, which you can respond at this, and you can always have any emergency is a different thing, but people will respect that it's a business account, and it will be responded at your convenient time, depending on the emergency that it has.
So that's a different phone number, I'm assuming.
A different phone number.
So Mahesh, what is your?
Yeah, ready.
I wanted to ask you that a few years back when we had these sessions, so your take on credit card was something little different from what Vaibhav has told, especially when international usage was concerned. So what is your take on the international credit card thing?
Given a choice between a credit card and a debit card, I would certainly use a credit card. Simple things would be, in a case of fraud, now how the banks work. The debit card is that your money has gone. You will get it back, fine, but at that particular moment, your money is gone. Whereas credit card is the bank's money. So they refund it if you make a complaint in within specific time. They refund the credit card money. But debit card, take it this way, a little lackadaisical attitude, your money is lost permanently. You may not get it. Credit card, the chances of getting the money back is maximum. Therefore, I would definitely, in fact, I don't use debit cards. I always use credit cards. That is my take on this.
Yeah, I completely agree with Mahesh on that. I completely agree.
Okay, so thank you. So Dr. Mahesh, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready.
So please proceed.
Yeah. So I was here, the payment scam. Okay, so the domain name scams. This is another one. Look at these sites: Amazon.com, Amazon.DiwaliFestival.com, and Amazon.com/DiwaliFestival. Do you know which is the real site? Can you guess? Take your time.
The first one and the third one.
Yeah. Now the thing is, Amazon.com everyone knows. Amazon.DiwaliFestival.com. Yes, fine. It could be a Diwali festival, and they have come up with this site. Now, what you have to remember is anything before this .com. This is the domain. So anything before .com is the name of the site. So Amazon is the name of this site, Amazon.com. Whereas this site is Diwali Festival. It has nothing to do with Amazon. It is Diwali Festival is the name of the site who's selling the goods. So this is a fraud site. Whereas this one, Amazon.com/Diwali Festival. So anything after the slash is a separate page for them, or they must have started a special discount or sale or something for Diwali. So Amazon.com. So as Neeraj rightly said, first and the last one is the genuine one, whereas this is a fraud site. Now I'll show you three names, the sites, and quickly tell me which one is the real one. Okay. These were the three names. Now there are 4 lines. Can you tell me which is the wrong one, or rather which is the correct one?
I think the first one probably is the right one.
It's a mistake here. Say this is 0, this is not O, and this is not B, this is beta. So only correct one is this, facebook.com. There are examples in real life. I'll show you of these things. Now I'm just explaining you how phishing occurs. So basically it comes down to being aware and alert. Look at this. Do not reply to Income Tax India e-filing.gov.in and similar looking other 2 names. If you don't know this, fine, everything is same for you. But look at them carefully. See the third one, e-filling. It is filling, not filing. So out and out, this is a fraud site. Now, what about first and the second one? Yes, both seems genuine. And where do I click? If I know, fine, e-filing is the right one. I know, I will click there. But can this be right? I don't know. So what I'll do is I'll just copy this domain name and open it in the web browser. We'll come to that. But as of now, e-filing is the real site. Okay. Now be extremely cautious about these QR codes. This is a QR code. All Apple users can just open up their cameras and just point at this image. You need not click anything. Just open up the camera and point at this image and you will get a preview. It is maheshkardephotography.com. Android users will have to use a QR scanner or QR reader. There are softwares available free. Now the cautious, what have to be extremely cautious about? An arbitrary image like this, the QR code coming to you, you should never open it. Okay, if it is associated with any authentic society sending you, BOS sends you, ROSA sends you, then fine. You know that the person who has sent you is authentic. So then you can open this. This is a shortcut and it opens the site. But this shortcut may be a kind of phishing attack. So be aware of it. Another thing, short URL, bit.ly, Auli, tiny URL, Google. Now, what these sites do is, if you have a very long name for any site, they just shorten it. So bit.ly is like a third party between you and the site which ultimately you want to open. Tiny URL, they do all, they are basically same, that this is different companies. Now this was the PDF I received from Dr. Rahul Katta sir. And it was click here. So when I clicked, it took me to this site. It's a tiny URL. Now I know that Rajasthan Orthopedic Association is good. Rahul Katta is genuine. Therefore I opened it. But had it come from somewhere which the person I don't know, then what can I do? What can be done is just keep your mouse, hover over the click here part. Don't click anything, just keep it there. And within a second, the mouse turns into a pointing hand. And the preview of the site pops up. Now, if you're sure this site is okay, not a phishing part, go ahead and click it. Otherwise, don't click anywhere. Of course, this is available only where there is a mouse, a cursor. So, you know, cursors are only in big machines, laptops and desktops, not in mobile. Be cautious about this email. Now, if you see here, there is a bounding box. This is a photograph, photo as an email. These are not written typed words. It looks like that, but this bounding box looks like a photograph. See, the edge of the screen is here, the mail, but here is the bounding box. This is a photograph. So what's big deal about it? Till now you have learned that never click on any site and links which you don't know. So, okay, I won't click on these things. But photo as an email means anywhere you click on this photo can lead you to a phishing attack. The whole photograph itself is a link to something else, not necessarily the underlying part. And this is very easy to make in Gmail. We do take this in Bombay Orthopedic Society workshops every year, how to make a photo which is clickable. The entire photo becomes clickable. Another thing, see again, this is a photo. There's a bounding box, I would say, from Netflix. Now, can you tell me this is genuine, not genuine? Okay, maybe. Look at this. Everything seems okay here, fine, this. But here the hacker, the fraudster seems to be a dumb fellow. This P is in small case. And if the method spelling is this, why he has to change it here? So be smart than the hacker. This is obviously a phishing attack. Forget about this. Just delete this message. Another one. Now this is real. This SMS had come to me from Vodafone. Now there's no HTTPS. It is from Bitly. I don't know whether this is genuine or a hacking part. I wouldn't click on this. I would rather copy this and open in the browser and see to it that it opens properly. At best thing is go on Vodafone site and then see your bill and everything. Do not click on this just because for convenience they have sent it on as an SMS to us. You need not click it. Convenience can be a little dangerous. See, this is Bitly and there's nowhere I feel secure about clicking on this. Forget it. I just deleted that SMS. Biggest joke from Bank of Baroda to Mahesh Khade, that's fine. Statement of your account and this. No salutation, dear Dr. Mahesh Khade or dear customer. And this, believe me, the next nothing is, it's a blank page, only a PDF attachment. The biggest joke is this is not even my account. And I have received this email. Obviously, this is a fraud. I just deleted this email. So coming down to some basic precautions, take-home messages, I would say. Always check for a padlock icon on the web page. It should be in the locked position. You know, this is what we see in the bar up there. There should be closed padlock. Always see this. Check that the web address starts with, the HTTP has a SS for secure. Anything, especially financial transactions, banking, should have this S. Just because there is no S, it's not that you should not use that site. Suppose it's just for reading something. Fine, there's no transaction as such. So even a HTTP would do. But in current scenario, 2020 and ahead, I would say that all sites should have this S. Whether you're just reading, creating a reading site or a financial site, any site, any website should have a S. I feel it should be compulsory. This S makes all the difference. Install the latest antivirus, anti-spyware, firewall. This is, I think, now basic. Do not click on a suspicious link in your email. If you feel that link is suspicious, you're not sure, copy that link, paste it on your Safari or Internet Explorer, Mozilla, Chrome, and open it from there. Another way I told you, just hover over the link, just place your mouse on the link, and it will throw a pop-up, a preview. This can be done in emails only, not on web pages. In the email, if you get a link, you need not click the link. You just hover over the link and it will show you the complete address. And if you find that it's genuine, okay, go ahead and click it. Otherwise, go in the browser, paste that link in the browser and open that site. In fact, now browsers, especially Chrome and Safari, tells you whether the site is secure or not. So you can decide if you paste that link in the browser and say this is not secure, don't open that site. Simple as that. Do not share your passwords and OTP with anyone. I think this is also basic. But remember this, you don't require an OTP to receive money. This is where the people are duped. OTP is to send money, not to receive money. Just remember, OTP, you don't require it to receive money. Do not open any unexpected email attachment, especially the zip file and the executable files. Now, what are these executable? They work only in Windows. Basically, they are the files to install programs, but with program they install malware, install viruses. So any mail attachment with an executable file should never be opened. And what are zip files? Zip files is like one folder will come to you in an email, but actually it contains lot of files. And once you open this, you are obviously installing all the other files. One of them may be a malware. So unless you are very sure the person who has sent you is genuine, I don't think anyone should open zip files and executable files through their mail attachment. Never do it. Avoid using public Wi-Fi, especially for financial transactions. You can use your 3G, 4G. Now, why Wi-Fi? Why you really want it, especially hotels, tea houses, malls. Anyone can spy on your phone with this Wi-Fi, and financial transaction is nice. You can be easily duped. Avoid using public USB charging points. This is called juice jacking to charge your devices. This I'll show you. The 2-pin plugs which we use are safe, but the USB connection which we can directly plug in the USB port are bad. That is the USB charging. You can connect this USB to the 2-point pin, which can be used to charge the devices, not the USB charging one. Okay. Let's play a small game. I will show you the real life scenarios, 4 photos, 4 websites. Now you have to tell me. You can answer this in the comments and send it to the moderator, Dr. Katta. Legitimate and secure. There are 4 sites and all the sites should have these attributes. Legitimate and secure. Look at these. I'll keep it for about 10-15 seconds each. Answer this. Look at the whole page properly. This one looks absolutely genuine. It could be genuine actually, but look everywhere, advertisement, this, that. Third photograph, PayPal. Would you use this to pay money? Look carefully, go through the entire page, not here or there, entire page. The hackers are not going to give you any clue. And the last one. Nice, I know Bank of Baroda, the orange color really pops up, beautiful site, beautiful page. You can send your answers. If you want to delve more deeper into this phishing, you can go onto this site, SonyQual Phishing IQ Test. There they have 7 questions and you can take that test. Really difficult, tough one. Average score is 2 or 3 out of 7. And they explain to you why you were wrong, what is right, what is wrong. So it's a really good site. So now I think you will believe that in today's era, not knowing technology can't be an excuse, isn't it? For further technology videos, I would suggest you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Mahesh Learning and Sharing by Mahesh Kherde, and you will learn more of technology there. I've put all my videos and I'm ready for the questions.
Thank you very much, Mahesh sir. We now open the talk to the panel for discussion and we'll also take questions coming in from our viewers.
Yeah.
Mahesh, can you just stop your screen share?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Before that, you can just tell about those 4 sites. What are the?
Yeah. So I'll share the screen and then talk on that.
Yes.
I'll share the screen.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll share it. Okay, can you see? Can you see now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So I think it's facelook.com, I think.
Correct. Absolutely correct. This is Facebook. This is not at all Facebook. Here it is Facebook, but this is a phishing site. Next one. What about this?
Sweet, no? That thing, sweet.
No, this is the customer.in. This is not Vodafone website.
Customer.in.
Correct.
That's correct. This is not a Vodafone site. This belongs to customer.in. Vodafone is just a clickbait. What about this? Will you go and pay money on this?
HTTP S is not there.
S is not there.
HTTP is
Lovely,
there.
lovely. That's excellent. Excellent. There is no S. It is not a secure site. So I wouldn't do any financial transaction. Just to read it, fine. But no financial transaction. The last one. Nice popping up.
That lock is open. It's a padlock is
Padlock is
closed.
open. Padlock is open. Beautiful. Beautiful. Good answer. So none of the site was genuine in this case. Okay, I'll stop sharing my screen here. Fine.
So, Mahesh, like, so I have attended one of the cyber security webinars recently. So in that they had recommended that the best browser to use is Mozilla Firefox.
Definitely.
Even or maybe Safari is the second best, they can say, because Mozilla Firefox is basically a individual browser, and they are some, you can say that, like genuine type of Imandar type of people. So what is your take? Do you use it, or you stick to Safari only everywhere?
Yeah, I'm using Safari. Still not using Mozilla, but yes, it is a safer browser. Chrome, everything is open platform. Internet Explorer, I don't use Windows for last, I think, 10 years. But I'm sticking to Safari. Mozilla, yes, it's a good platform. Agree.
So,
and about anybody else? Yes, sir. Dr. Rahul Katta, you can go ahead.
You can continue. Yeah, you can continue.
Okay.
Finish your questions first.
Okay. And besides this phishing thing which you told us about the website, so you really need to be very careful that which site is phishing and which is not. So the one advantage of these current browsers, if you keep on updating and to the latest version, they only warn you many times that this may not be the real site.
Especially Safari and Chrome definitely has this. The moment you type any address or you click a link and the site opens in Safari, prefix they add up. This is an insecure site. So you get that HTTP kind of thing. You can click on that site itself and the whole address opens up. So there won't be a S after HTTP. So that is another way, even if the browser doesn't tell. Okay.
Okay.
So,
Dr. Rahul Katta, over to you.
Yeah, Kapil, you can. Dr. Kapil.
Dr. Mahesh, excellent talk. Just a question, when we are opening some of these journal sites and we are looking at articles, there's a pop-up which comes below which says that we'll be using cookies. And is that safe or is that not safe? Because you click on that, then it probably doesn't let you go any further.
Yeah, if you don't click cookies, it won't let you open up the page itself. So you accept the cookies, see that, and the way Vaibhav said, go back into the browser and delete all the cookies. Now see, what cookies do is they just, it's like a nitro booster when we play games. It just enhances the opening of the site. Now, if you don't have cookies, and next time if you open a site, it may take a couple of seconds more. With cookies, it will be faster. Now, why saving just 2-3 seconds versus safety? I think the choice is obvious. I would use the cookies, open the site, and then go ahead and delete the cookies. In fact, I do this every night on my iPhone. Go in the settings, open up Safari, and I delete the web page data. So all cookies which were there during the daytime which I used the site, I just delete them. Next time when I open the site, it will take a couple of seconds more to open. That's all what I feel. So for safety reasons, always delete the cookies. But for functional reasons, you require to accept the cookies. That's the take.
Thank you, Dr. Mahesh. We have a couple of questions from the audience.
Yes, sir.
So first question is from Dr. Samarjit Patnaik. He's asking, do you think using iOS is safer than Android when it comes to use of credit cards? So any take on iOS versus Android?
I'm making a very big statement here. iOS is the only safest thing I feel than Android. Absolutely. In fact, I had only one Android phone in my entire life, and because of this privacy and security reasons, I switched over to iPhone. Absolutely, absolutely no arguments here for me. Android, I mean, iPhone is the best. The end.
So, Dr. Mahesh, otherwise the Android platform using company may sue you. Be aware.
I know, I know, I
Making
know.
this
Therefore, I
statement.
said it's a very big statement. It's a very big. In
So-
fact, I would go ahead and say the functions on Android phone are really good. But one thing I realized, that one thing on a serious note, I would say that see how iPhones and Androids have a different kind of work ethics. To get a application in iOS in the App Store, the technicians at Apple first scrutinize. They look at the app. If they are satisfied, then the app is released on the App Store. Whereas in Android, it's an open platform. You and I make an application and just load it in Play Store. Now the question which earlier had arisen that whether you give permission for contacts to open up contact. Now I have a browsing site, and why they require a contact, my whole contact list with them. So there that hacking, cheating, phishing that occurs there. I understand it's something to do with contact applications, somewhere contacts are required, then I can give access to my contacts. But otherwise, why each and every application is asking for contacts in Android, Apple's, I mean, the Google Store. So there the difference lies.
So thank you. Another
So,
question
Mahesh-
is another question from Dr. A. Shashank.
Yes.
So how secure are the Chrome extensions?
Chrome extensions are good. I've used them, but not many. But later on, if there are too much, they slow down the net. So too many extensions are not good. Just to, I mean, the speed of the net decreases. They are safe. If they are from Google, they are safe.
One more question from Dr. Amit Mittal.
Mm-hmm.
So he said he has downloaded Avast Anti-Security and did the payments and got debited via net banking.
Okay.
But antivirus security was not updated.
Then it's useless. First of all, if it was a free kind of thing, I wouldn't use free anything to protect my money. So I'd use a paid version of it, and it has to be updated constantly. Even in fact, the browser and the antivirus has to be constantly updated. There is no question of that it was not updated and I made a transaction wrong. I wouldn't do that.
So my question is, there are many antivirus softwares are available.
Yes.
How to choose them? What is the basic feature we have to look for?
Norton is the best. Kaspersky. I use Quick Heal. They have a nice post kind of service. Norton is good, but they decrease the speed of our browsing and other applications. But if you want to be really good, I mean, really secure, watertight security, I would recommend Norton. But Quick Heal is fair enough. And with all this knowledge of phishing, you can be safe on the net.
So,
Mahesh, do you use antivirus on the Mac or only on Windows machines which are there used by receptionists?
Windows, see, I have one Windows computer just for my X-rays. Rest of all we have is Mac and that Apple environment. So there's no question of using an antivirus on Macs as of now.
Right. Sir, are we done with the questions or there are more questions?
Can I ask one question to Vaibhav, which I had forgotten last time?
Yes, sir.
So,
Yeah.
Vaibhav, you mentioned about VPN.
Yeah.
So, and I remember that in the last session, Vaibhav, you mentioned about paid VPN, which is the what Proton.
Proton, yeah.
Yeah, and there were many issues with the Proton VPN which I faced. So, what is your take? Means basically these free VPNs, if our work is being done, should we use them free VPN for banking or should we not use a free VPN for banking?
I just mentioned VPN to complete the whole thing. I think if you are using in today's world, if you are using your own Wi-Fi, if you are having a 3G, 4G connection and you are not doing anything which is illegal, or you don't want to do anything which is illegal, I think there is no role of using a VPN in India. However, if you are going to certain countries where you have to use WhatsApp or anything else to call, you might download VPN for a short time. But by and large, with enhanced security with every website that we do. The only thing is that you should be using your own Wi-Fi or internet access or your institution Wi-Fi. Otherwise, you need to use VPN. For example, if you are planning to use it at a railway station, then better buy a VPN.
So when you're out of your hospital, nursing home or clinic or home, it is always preferable to use your own 4G data compared to anybody else's Wi-Fi.
Correct.
Is what the take-home message from your talk is, right?
Agree.
Especially for banking.
Okay.
For anything, I think banking is we are focused on money, but I think more than money, there are other important things in life. I think equally important not to access your Gmail or your emails, because that contains your banking and so many more things. So don't. I think people make that mistake. People think that net banking ke liye use nahi kar rahe, then it is safe. But I think your email is your most important asset in today's world.
Okay, thank you, Vaibhav, and thank you, Dr. Mahesh, for very good presentation, all the details about phishing and online security. Now we come to another important session, which is really very important to us, all of us, about scientific presentations. So now, Dr. Swapnil, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm quite ready. We'll move on to the next session here.
Yes.
Just give me a moment. Yes, so at the outset, I would like to thank the Rajasthan Orthopedic Association, Dr. Rahul Katta, and everyone else who's present here. Now, my talk is essentially about scientific presentation, and this is such an important part of our academic life. We are called on to give presentations at various conferences, various meetings, and many a times it can be a first presentation. Many a times it may not be a lecture, but it may be a paper. And how to make a scientific presentation and how to present it is what I'm going to kind of summarize in this short lecture of mine. So essentially, the difference between average and good, good and great and phenomenal is your mindset. And this is the kind of mindset you need to have when you go in for every presentation. It may be a lecture, it may be a paper, it may be a video, any podium, it may even be a presentation happening on one of the online platforms. But each and every time, you need to have this kind of a winning mindset. And whenever you are trying to set your goals, try and set them so ridiculously high that even if you fail, you will always be above everybody else's success. And this is extremely important. What I mean by this is that whenever you're making a presentation, be certain that you give your best attempt. And at all times, it is not really about beating the competition, but it is being in your own league, being in your own zone. And when you're in your own zone, when you're not really concerned about what is happening around you, that is probably the time you will do your best. Now, presentation, I agree, is an art. But not only it is an art, but there is also a science behind it. And the science essentially consists of three parts. There is an input, there is a process, and there is output. And if you follow these three interlinked things, then you will come out with a good, reasonable scientific presentation. Now, coming to the planning of your presentation, your input, what you put into a presentation, what you do before you actually go on to present is probably the most important part of any presentation. And there is a lot of work ethic involved here. And before you even start doing anything, what you wear is so important that people will look at you first before they start hearing you. Fashion may mean different things to different people, but elegance is an acquired trait. Now, we are seeing a lot of people nowadays on webinars, and this is the common classic webinar dress code, and which is perfectly fine because you are in a home environment. But whenever you're in a conference environment, you need to be appropriately dressed. I wouldn't say that you have to wear a three-piece suit, but you need to be appropriately dressed. Very, very important. The next stage essentially is about how you believe in yourself. So what is important is that when we were in medical school, we had three kinds of students. One who were on the lower side, the one who were the toppers, and most of us, probably orthopedic surgeons, were somewhere in between. And in medical school, there is this typical bell curve which is there in every class. But fortunately in life, you don't really have to be a game changer and be in the top 15 to be a good presenter. Even if you were average in your medical school life, as most orthopedic surgeons are, you will eventually be successful at presentation, provided you follow certain basic dictums. And the most important dictum here is to understand what champions are made of. And they are made of essentially by the lucidity of their thought process. The more simplistically you think, the more simplistic your presentations are, the more better they're going to get over a period of time. Now, all of us, when we do a presentation, the first thing which comes to our mind before we make one is how are we going to make the presentation? And this is something called as a mind map. And this mind map, which I am putting on the screen, looks exactly like a jumbled up, disorganized slideshow. So everything about PowerPoint presentation, and the first step is you need to organize this disorganized PowerPoint slideshow. And this can be done rationally by combining your rationality with your emotion. And when you combine the two, you get a wise mind. And how do you uncomplicate this slideshow? What is really important before you start making your presentation, especially when you're going for a competitive paper, is you have to have an extensively written, detailed manuscript with you. This is the first and the most important step, because what you're going to write, what you're going to read, is what you're going to present and what you're going to make. Your literature search has to be exhaustive. So at any point, every point, whenever you're giving references to literature, please remember that you have the latest literature and the most relevant literature. The third and most important thing, which I always stress upon, is a comprehensive Excel sheet. And there is a particular reason why you have to have a comprehensive Excel sheet, which I'll be coming to a bit later. And the second thing is color coding this Excel sheet. Now, when you have an Excel sheet already made, making diagrams, making graphs, self-explanatory figures becomes very, very easy. So when you have a sheet like this with a lot of data on it, and if you color code it, there are various advantages of doing that. You're finding your data is very, very simplified. You can apply formulas. You can make tables, which again, your written material goes down. You can make diagrams. And these all four things are very, very important when you are making a PowerPoint presentation. The second part of the science is the process of PowerPoint presentation, which is you start executing. And the most important thing in executing is how you start your presentation. So an attention-seeking title is extremely important. So rather than saying, the management of supracondylar fractures, you can probably say that, has there been any change in the recent management protocols for supracondylar fractures? Learn this in this presentation. So when you have an attention-seeking title, you're already holding the attention of your viewer. And this is extremely, extremely important. The second thing, many a times which we do, especially in the non-scientific presentations on academic platforms, and many a times you are asked to deliver a non-scientific lecture, may not be orthopedics, it may be something else, is to attach taglines. So Amol has a tagline called utterly butterly delicious, and it really, connects to the viewer. It really gives you that feeling of knowing each other, and that is very, very important. So connecting to your audience is extremely important. The third thing is a picture, and a picture actually speaks 1,000 words. And the moment you see this picture, you know that something is going to happen, that things are not hunky and dory and things are going to change. So a picture in your presentation can actually speak 1,000 words. The next and important and pertinent thing is using your slide templates. Very, very important. Now look here, this looks like a nice slide, but actually when it comes up on screen, it's really a loud color. It really doesn't appeal to your viewers, for a long period of time. A dull background, again, something which your viewers can get irritated. Now look at this slide. If you look at this slide, there is so much information, but more than that, there is a Ferrari in the background, and that really is a distracting thing. And that is something which you need to avoid. Avoid slide templates with background pictures. Now this looks like a beautiful slide, but there is hardly any material you can put it here. The entire material has been occupied by the design of the slide. So this is something, again, which you have to be very, very particular. Avoid slide templates with built-in designs. Now, how do you choose slide background and foreground? Avoid low and high contrast, very, very important. Avoid contrasting colors in the same slides because they are really a pain to the eye. Now look at this. This is a rainbow kind of a background. Looks very nice, but it's really distracting to the viewer. And look at this. This is a very, very simple black colored background with a yellow, green, white, cyan, or magenta. This looks so appealing, so simple, so simplistic, and yet it is so effective. So try and choose what you want to do. And this is, again, a learning process. You cannot learn it in a day. But over a period of time, you will realize that there are certain permutations and combinations which you can do in your PowerPoint presentation. The next and important thing is choosing your fonts. Now, there are certain standard fonts which you can use, and they are kind of, you can use it in most places. The Times New Roman, the Arial, the Calibri, and the Courier. Some alternatives can be a Baskerville, an Open Sans, a Contora 1, and an Ubuntu. These are what you can use standard. There are certain stylish fonts which you can use in 1 or 2 slides, but don't try and use it in all slides because after a while it can get a little annoying to your audience. And there are certain artistic fonts which you use in very, very specific scenarios, especially in those non-scientific presentations. Like if you have a presentation which is something to do with your hobby or something to do with an expedition you did, probably you can use this, but not really in scientific presentations. The next and most important thing where many people go wrong is the size of the fonts. And this is very, very important. There is a standard dictum. You can, of course, have your own dictum to this, but this is what is strongly recommended. If you have your first slide, which is just the title, it has to be reasonably big because you have to remember that you may be seeing it on your computer, but there are people sitting in an audience who are sitting way far behind. And if there are no extension screens there in the auditorium, and they have to see the main screen, it is very difficult for them to see smaller sized fonts. So the dictum is that for a title, use about 96 point, author about 48 points, headings about 36, and text about 24. These are the standard dictums. It can change and it can alter from fonts to fonts, but this is something you learn over a period of time. The next thing is about slide layouts. Now here I will again like to reiterate that many of us try and put a lot of information on every slide, and this is not really desired. A presentation is different from a text. In a presentation, you want to convey something in the most simplistic and minimalistic form. And hence, rather than putting so much information, try and either put it in the form of points or try and increase the number of slides. You can put lesser points on more slides so that your points are go across. Otherwise, if you're going to read from your slide, nobody's going to pay attention. The second thing is you need to really structure your slide. Structuring your slide is very important. If you want to give information, rather than putting in the form of bullets, you can actually make 3 different boxes and you can give that information. And the person there can actually not only see that, but can even compare your information. And it really makes a kind of an image in his mind. The next thing is about inserting media, which is X-rays and videos. Now look at this X-ray. Now this X-ray gives away everything. It is disclosing the identity of my patient, and I see this so often on social media forums, and this is a strict no-no. So you need to really crop your images in a way that your patient data is never given. The second thing is the background objects. Many a times you see background objects like this phone is being seen in the background here, and this is not really desirable. So you need to take your picture in a way so that there is no reflection, no background objects, and everything you see is relevant and the information you wish to give. So this is not really desirable. The third thing is cropping your pictures. Now, whenever we take pictures from a mobile phone, we usually tend to take it in our OPDs if our OPDs are particularly busy with a part of the X-ray viewing box which is seen. So please remember to, crop this, and this is an option which is available in PowerPoint as well as Keynote, where you can actually crop this picture in the presentation itself. So even if you don't have time to edit your pictures after your clinic, you can actually do it in PowerPoint or in Keynote. And this is what I need at the end. So at the end, I have a picture which is reasonably good looking. Now, the next part is optimal brightness and contrast. And again, this is something very, very important. Many a times we do not have very good quality X-rays, and there it is very important that you have to optimally, control the brightness and contrast of these images so that you do not have an overexposed or an underexposed image. And this can again be done inside the PowerPoint or inside your any other form of presentation. Like in this case, I'm using the Keynote, where you can actually adjust the brightness and contrast of every image so that it looks optimal on the screen. About videos, now this is a very common problem that videos don't tend to work. And there are multiple reasons why they don't work. The most common reason is because there's a discrepancy between the PowerPoint version which you have and the PowerPoint version which they have. So the best way to circumvent this problem is to save your presentation in the form of a PPTX. That is a PowerPoint presentation in the form of a PPTX or a Keynote. Now, what these two formats do is they tend to embed your videos. So many a times, if your videos are embedded in the presentation, and even if you take it on a pen drive, they will work. Having said that, I will always say that keep a kind of a safety net with you by keeping your videos along with your presentation. So just in case your presentation doesn't open, you can go ahead and your backup will kind of help you with playing your videos, especially when important videos and pertinent videos are to be played. Video formats, very, very important. There are 5 common formats which we use nowadays, which is the AVI, the FLV, the Windows Media Format, the MOV, and the MP4. Out of which I have found, at least this is again my personal preference, the MP4 format is probably the best because I've seen it being used and it works against all platforms. So an MP4 is something which I would recommend, but of course there are others on this in this forum who are better at making videos and editing videos. So they'll also be able to help you on this. Now, inserting graphs. Graphs are very, very important when you are trying to give information and data. Now, try and avoid cramming up a lot of information on one single graph. Also, try and have and avoid too many annotations. So try and avoid annotations on a graph because it really looks irritating. Your graphs have to be representative charts with bright contrast colors. Like this here is a thermometer chart, and it is really giving me all the information I require. One more way of actually trying to put your point across, which I also prefer, is using something called as interactive graphs. And this is available only in the Keynote. So now you see when I play this graph, I will see that there is a movement which is occurring on this graph in real time. So this can actually show you the changes in the data which have occurred over time. And this can really be a very, very handy tool to you when you're doing a paper presentation. The last but not the least, the most important part of your presentation is how you're going to deliver your presentation. So there are 3 objectives to delivering any presentation. And these are what I call as the 3 Ks. You have to know what your aim is. You have to know what kind of an audience you are looking at. And the third and most important thing is you have to deliver a key message at the end of every presentation. Knowing your objective can be winning a prize or a medal. It may be wanting to wow your audience, and it may also be having an intent to establish or reiterate your credentials as an academician. You may be wanting to win a prize, and what you do when you are presenting for a prize or a medal presentation is try and finish your presentation on time. Lesser slides, lesser matter on slides. Underline, highlight important points. Flawlessly working videos, check, counter check, recheck again and again and again. Even if you have to sit for half an hour to 1 hour in the preview room, especially when you're doing a gold medal presentation, very, very important. Representative simple charts, only one per slide. It really, really looks and it declutters your entire presentation. Clear conclusions and relevance should be defined in every presentation. Very, very important in point format. And last but not the least, give a clear take-home message. Very important in a prize or a medal paper. If you want to wow your audience, you have to have a seamless talk without any breaks or confusions. Judicious use of slide transitions and animations. Do not animate every slide. Try and use your magic only when it is required to wow your audience. Using pictures, diagrams, and self-explanatory charts. Very important. And most importantly, eye-to-eye contact with your audience. If you have an eye-to-eye contact with your audience, and if you know that you've presented well, then you can always end up having a wonderful interaction. And last but not the least, try and ask questions to your audience and seek consensus. Now, this consensus can be in the form of an open question. It can be in the form of a raise of hands. It can be in the form of a question which is answered on a ARS, which is the audience response system, but always have the right questions and seek consensus whenever possible. Involve your audience, and that is the only way you can keep your audience along with you. If you want to establish your credentials as an academician, always present original work, speak with command and authority, but do not exude any form of arrogance. Most importantly, when you go on to a podium, see to it that you have gone through your presentation multiple times so that you can preempt what questions are going to come to you and have answers ready before you need to go ahead and think about it. Be thoroughly updated with literature on the subject. Very, very important in a scientific presentation. Be very, very precise in your answers to all the questions asked to you and avoid going tangentially, which happens many a times in conferences. If you do not know an answer, you can always say that I do not know it, or you can probably refer it to somebody who's your senior, but be very precise when you're asked. Each and every talk, whenever you give, try and raise your bar. Try and improve. Try and ask yourself how you can be better. Try and observe other people and try and get better each time you get that opportunity to go on the podium. Because to be very frank to you, the output which you give is the final part of your presentation. Unless your input is correct, unless your process is correct, and most importantly, unless you put your heart, mind, and soul into every presentation, you will not be able to successful. So the key to be successful is essentially kind of dedicating and devoting yourself to every presentation. May it be a lecture, may it be a paper, may it be speaking to your fellows, may it be speaking to residents, may it be a small platform, may it be an electronic platform, may it be a national conference or an international conference. Do it with your heart, mind, and soul. I thank all of you for your attention. Thank you.
So thank you, Dr. Swapnil, for a very fantastic and useful talk. I think we should continue with Dr. Mandar and take the questions for both the talks.
I would agree with that.
Because both the another presentation is also about the PowerPoint. So yes. Dr. Mandar.
Thank you, sir. I'll just share my screen. Just one sec, sir. Thank you very much to my co-faculties, to Rajasthan Orthopedic Surgeons Association and Bombay Orthopedic Society for inviting me for this this symposium. Well, I'm going to be the first person probably who's going to present on PowerPoint. I think all three speakers presented on keynote before this, and Swapnil has excellently talked about many of the features of PowerPoint. So I'm not going to go into much of detail about PowerPoint. So in PowerPoint lectures, many times there are two types. One of them, which are the boring types, who just go on and on about slides. The second one are the very aggressive ones, who have a lot of animations, lot of things to go. So we have to be the balanced ones. we have to have some text and some animations. And a lot of things about the text has already been told by Swapnil. So I'm going to go into more details about the animations. And I'm going to talk about three basic ways in which you can make your presentation power packed and more interesting by adding a few animations. So the importance of PowerPoint of an animation is by this method. So if you want to describe, say, a roll of percutaneous joystick in supracondylar humerus fracture, so you have a displaced supracondylar humerus fracture, and you have to describe everything by the text. You have to go into a lot of text. You have to pass a mosquito forceps from the triceps, direct it inferiorly, reverse the fragment, and pass a wire. Now it's going to be a lot of hassle to describe this just by writing these words. So what do? You can do a nice animation. So I'm going to show a few animations, and I'm going to go through about how we can make them. And in fact, one I'm going to show real time about how to make an animation. So you have this method. So you have the displaced fracture supracondylar humerus. You pass a small mosquito forceps through the triceps. You pass it through the fracture site. You reverse the mosquito. You distract the fracture site. Along with that, the leverage is going on. And you flex the elbow in order to achieve reduction, and then pass the K-wire. After this nice small animation, you can then show a few C-arm pictures, APA lateral view, then achieving reduction, and then passing the wires. So once in a few slides itself, your entire point of view is put forth. One more. So you have this osteotomy which you have to describe. This is a very complex osteotomy, which is known as a triple C osteotomy. And if you want to describe it, it's like a medial displacement osteotomy of the calcaneum, lateral opening wedge osteotomy of the cuboid, and a medial cuneiform plantar close wedge osteotomy. And how do you describe it in an animation form? Now you have, it's very difficult to describe this with just words. So how do you describe it? You can show it in a nice animation. So you have an oblique osteotomy of the calcaneum. You have translated it medially. You have a transverse osteotomy of the cuboid. You use a lamina spreader in order to open this osteotomy up. Do an osteotomy of the medial cuneiform so as to remove the wedge and correct this wedge, and then pass this same wedge onto the lateral side into the cuboid, and then fix all the three osteotomies using K-wires. Thus, this greatly displaced fracture is now completely corrected. So with this small animation, you can describe a very complex process into a very simplified thing. So let's go into how do we make these animations. So first is you have to draw or select a shape and animate it or make it move. So a disclaimer here is that this is all the things which I have learned over the years. So it's probably quite basic, and it's probably easy to learn. So what you do is that if you have a fracture like this, if you have an image like this, you have to think of what all pieces need to be moved. So if you have this fracture, this piece, you double click on it, and there's something known as remove background. Now this remove background is a very nice function which is there, I think, since my PowerPoint 2016. Due to which what happens is the computer senses about what amount of things need to be removed. You have to adjust it slightly so that finally you get only the thing which you require. So here in this case, I don't want any of the background. I just want the proximal and the distal segments in this fracture. Now this time I want to separate these two fragments. So again, I will use remove background and create two more pieces like this. I'll probably then go on Google and ask for mosquito hemostatic forceps, take a picture which I want, and use the same thing in order to get this image. Once I do, now I have got the background work done. So I have this mosquito forceps which I has to move. I have this original X-ray, and I have these moving pieces. So all I have to do is then go on copy pasting things serially so that it then moves like a movie. So it's almost like in our childhood, we used to make books with diagrams where they used to go on increasing as a process. So here you control C and control V. So copy and paste the entire slide so that this goes ahead. Again, copy paste the slide so that this goes ahead. So every time the next slide is slightly different than the first one. So you go on increasing the number of slides and changing the position of your moving pieces every time. And this change every time can be small or large depending on how you want to show it. Here I want to show it like it is seen on a C arm. So every time it is Control C and Control V. Then how do you pass that wire? You have to know of something which is known as motion paths. Now these motion paths are of various forms. Here, since I have to show that a K wire has been passed, it has to be linear. So it will be draw a line and then direct it from here to here. And this is how the K wire will be passed. Finally, it is always a good idea to have the entire process as a automatic transition. So this will help me in order to talk about the process while the presentation is going on. So there is a function known as transition. There are various transitions between the slides, including something where it jumps up or flies away. But here we want the simple cut transition. That is, it goes from one to another after a particular time, so probably 0.5 seconds or so, and then you apply to all. Once that is done, your animation is done. So believe me, this can be done in about 10 minutes once you have got the hang of what exactly you need to do. So this is how you do it. You just transition it, and then you can then talk about this process once, and along with that, the presentation is going on. So can I stop here? Any doubts about this, or should I go ahead?
Continue.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So this one more method, which is a very nice method. So if you have this X-ray, so this is a child where I want to show a proximal femoral osteotomy for a right hip Perthes disease. It's going to be a proximal femoral varus osteotomy for a right hip Perthes. So I want to show that it's going to be varus, and then I want to show that this is getting fixed with the help of this proximal femoral locking plate. So how do I do it? So I'm going to show it real time. So let's hope that this works. So I'm going to stop this presentation. All right. So I want to show you a few things. One is in shapes, there are various forms. One of it is scribble, where you can actually draw a shape, but it's quite difficult because it requires a lot of control in your fingers. There's something known as free form, which is slightly easier. So what you do, so I want to then show the proximal and distal segments. So I'm going to do here. So what it does is actually delineates the shape which I want. Sorry. Yeah. So this is the proximal segment which I have got. All right. So after that, I'll then also design the distal segment. All right. So I have now got the proximal and the distal segment ready. All right. So I'm going to keep this away, and I'm going to show you a function which is a very nice function, which is known as merge function. So what does this merge function do? So yeah, before that, what we have to do is keep this entire slide copy pasted 2 or 3 times because you may require it later on. All right. So what does this merge function do? Now, merge function is nothing but a stencil which you can use So in childhood, when you used to cut something, you have a stencil and you can just cut it across. So I want to show that the proximal segment on the X-ray is actually moving. So I'm going to click this and I'm going to click this second image also. And then you go to format and there's a function known as merge function. And there are various functions: union, combine, fragment, intersect, etc. Here you go to intersect. Once you go to intersect, you have this proximal segment ready, right? So this you can move again and again. Then in the similar fashion, we will go for the distal segment. So I'm going to keep it here near the distal segment. Click both. And again go to merge and intersect. So I now have the proximal segment and the distal segment with me. All right. Now I want to cut a piece of the proximal segment on this X-ray. Again, I go here and use the same function, but in a different manner. So here I don't want the intersection, but I want something which is other than the intersection, which means there's this function known as subtract. So in here, kindly stop me if there's a doubt, or any of the faculty would like to suggest something. All right. So this I have subtracted. So this is like cutting off that portion of that X-ray. So now I have the proximal segment which is cut in this case, which I want to move, and I have the proximal and the distal segment which is ready. So I'm just going to copy and paste those proximal and distal segments in the same slide. All right. Along with that, so I had selected this plate from the net and I have done the same thing here. So I have this plate ready with me. So I'll just copy it here and then place it in the same slide. All right. So now I have all the groundwork ready for me. So I'm going to do, sorry. Yeah. So let's keep this separately. So I'm going to copy and paste this slide again. So all right. So this will start as the first slide. So this here, I want to show it some virus happening here. Then again, I will copy and paste the same slide. Again, the same manner, virus happening here again. Again, I'll increase the virus a bit and probably have some superior migration, in which case I will use this slightly up. So this should happen seamlessly. Again, copy and paste. Increase the virus till. So this is about 20 degrees like I want. And then place this plate here. Probably this is slightly more in size. You can decrease the size. And this is it. So once you run this, of course, there are some finesse which you can give later on. So if you run this as a presentation, you can see that this is like a proximal femoral osteotomy, which you can show. So this is a merge function, which is something which is nice. Any doubt about this? Or we can go ahead.
Please proceed on that.
Yeah. All right. And finally, we have this third method, which is again, I'm going to illustrate this. So if I want to show this pathogenesis of a SCFE deformity, slipped capital femoral epiphysis, you have this deformity which is there, which is severe. And I want to show on flexion that this hip is getting impinged. So this is a femoroacetabular impingement. I can show it in a slightly better manner with this. Now, this motion is something which is slightly difficult to make. And so this is an animation which is contributed by Dr. Jain sir. So how do we make it? So there is something known as power of two concentric circles. This just helps me to get an arc in which it should move. So the first step is you select the shape which you want to move. So I want this entire shape to move in an arc. Then you draw two concentric circles. The smaller one should be at the center of the arc in which it wants to move. And the bigger one is at the radius. So this is where it wants to move. Now group this circle with this image. So I want to have an arc which moves in this manner. And there is something in animations known as spin option. Now this is a very nice animation which is known as spin, where you can actually measure, tell how much of spinning you want. So here I want say 30 degrees clockwise, and I want to auto reverse it all. That you remove the outline for this circle and then hit play. So you have this thing which is well. I'd like to end this presentation. Thank you so much. I hope you like these 3 animations. If there's any doubt, please let me know. Thank you so much.
So, thank you, Dr. Mandar.
Great presentation.
Very great. So, first I would like to ask our panelists whether they have some questions in their mind from Dr. Swapnil or Dr. Mandar.
One more point I just wanted to emphasize what Swapnil told. Any point you want to give a take-home message, you have to repeat it 2-3 times during your lecture. Otherwise, the audience doesn't get it. You know, I remember once, you know, I am a faculty at Ranawat's meeting, and after each of my presentation, I asked Dr. Ranawat directly that was there anything I was supposed to add? And once he told me this point that it was great that everything was okay, but you must repeat the take-home message 2-3 times during your presentation so that the audience gets it and takes it into the mind. One point I just added. And you know, regarding the beginning of the presentation, I still remember one of my residents who's a consultant in the UK. We had regularly, we have every week our residents presentation, and this guy was given in a first post, you know, when he entered first year post position, plus Paris as the presentation. We were just sitting and chatting that he will start his presentation. You know, first slide what he showed was a statue of plaster of Paris. The second slide he showed some, you know, art made of the plaster of Paris. Then we didn't know what he's going to talk. And 2-3 slides, then fourth slide he showed in the OTST that his apron has been, you know, soaked with the plaster when he was applying the plaster. And he told, dear friends, what is common in this, all these, you know, slides? It is the plaster of Paris, what I'm going to talk to you about it today. So entire, you know, in that boardroom, everybody was silent when the presentation started. So this is how you catch the audience from the beginning. And one good example, I still remember him, and I always tell all the residents that this is how you should start your presentation.
So can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure, Kapil.
Mandar or Swapnil can comment on it. So I think a concern for everybody when they're making presentation is copyright. So, you know, you don't want people to copy your presentation. So do you have any tips on preventing people from copying your presentation? And also how you add your watermark to your slide, if you could tell the delegates who are watching. I think that's an important thing that people don't know often.
Watermark, I would leave to Mahesh once.
Actually, watermark, I do it in Mac. I have a separate video on that on my YouTube channel, Learning and Sharing by Mahesh Kharde. So you make a watermark for yourself, and then you can repeat it. You make a master slide and then keep on repeating that slide in your entire presentation. In fact, for this, your question about how to prevent plagiarism, you make a watermark and put it in every slide and keep the opacity to about 20 to 30%. So your main presentation doesn't gets affected. So the watermark is there, but it is not seen. So there and not there kind of thing. So anyone taking a screenshot also, the watermark is there bang in the center. Now the question is, what should be the watermark? Now, people have been using, simple like logos and all, but then that logo may be associated with the person who has really who's copying that presentation from someone else's presentation. So might as well, I have gone through this. It feels very bad. So what I have come up with my watermark, what you saw in my presentation, original work by Dr. Mahesh Kherde. So if I am presenting it, I am Mahesh Kherde. So original work by Dr. Mahesh Kherde. Now if someone copies that presentation, the person who the audience will obviously read that and come to know that the original work is by Dr. Mahesh Kherde. I come to this and I'm putting my watermark saying original work by Dr. Mahesh Kherde.
True.
That is how it is.
Correct.
As regards conferences, that is a big concern that somebody may just take away your presentation. So the best way to prevent this is by putting a password.
Password. Yeah.
Now, every presentation, if you remember POSICON 2019, the last session was a question and answer session where Dr. Johri was the convener, and the three secretaries, the four secretaries were the people who he was questioning. And we had certain concerns that we didn't want to give away that, those questions to them.
Yep.
So we had put a password. So that is one way by doing it. The second way, of course, of doing it is giving it to a very responsible person. Like in Bombay Orthopedic Society, whenever we have a conference, we have one of the vendors who's very, very responsible. So he sees to it that all the presentations are deleted before he winds up. And he also sees to it that a presentation is not given to anybody else. So that is the second way. The third way is that a lot of these pen drives are now available, which have a kind of a lock on them. So if you're scared about your pen drive being stolen, then there are these digital locks on pen drives which are available, with which you can protect your data. So these are three ways, but despite that, if somebody wants to really take it away, they can. They have their own ways and means of doing it.
Yeah, nowadays, many a times it's like many people are just taking photos of all the presentations, and if they just crop it, then there's no stopping it. But if, as Swapnil said, putting a password if you want to prevent it's being used when you're giving it for a conference, then probably put a password. That's the best thing.
Mandar, put the watermark bang in the center, so even that cropping business is taken care of. If you go through my slides, that whole tape was in the center.
Correct.
Original work by Dr. Mahesh Kherde. So whether he copies it, doesn't copy, it's still there.
The problem comes when X-rays are clicked on the screen.
The opacity should be decreased to about 20-30%.
Correct.
If you are displaying an X-ray on a slide, you might as well take it further down, so say about 15%. So that takes care of that slide. But overall, a standard opacity of 20% works well. You can try it on your computer and see that.
Yeah.
So my take is a little different on this. So I feel that if people are copying your work, that means you have achieved something very great in life. So you should be proud of yourself. And in today's day and age, where you just Google any image and you get it from anywhere without a watermark, it's okay if people copy yours. And whatever you do, the more you try to hide, the more difficult, person will get more challenged that ye to mere ko chahiye. It becomes like this. So I feel that you should do everything, whatever it takes, but you should not feel bad that someone has copied. You should feel proud that your work is so good that people are copying it and presenting it in their context.
Neeraj, there are two kinds of school of thoughts. One is that 99% of the world is data consumer, whereas we are data creators. Now, if anyone really copies or robs our data, where you are a data creator, it hurts. Copying is very easy. So,
but if you're putting everything on YouTube, have you read the terms and conditions of YouTube? If you're putting everything on YouTube, I can just download that video or maybe even embed that video on my website.
Might as well have the person can at least contact the original creator and take permission. I mean, that would be a better way.
No, but Mahesh, I would like to point out that if you're putting it on YouTube, and any person can embed your video on his website without taking permission, and it is fully legal.
No, but he can
Not
embed,
downloading. I'm talking about embedding.
No, but can he pass it on as his own work? I don't think so.
Should not.
So, no, because YouTube video में तो महेश खट्टे लिखा ही है ना.
Yeah, that is what I'm saying. So might as well do that.
He cannot pass it on his own work.
There are two questions.
Okay, sir. Sorry.
So representing the video, your video on some other platform, basically it is not the plagiarism. You are claiming that work has been done by you, but actually the work has done originally by somebody else, is basically the copyright issues. Correct. And the plagiarism. So embedding YouTube videos or downloading YouTube videos is not a big offense. But if you are presenting that, claiming that it's your work, your patient's x-rays, your animations, your slides, yes, that is a challenge as a copyright. I think you must agree with this.
Can I add something more to this?
Yes, yes.
Off topic, but interesting. See, now when you download music from YouTube or any platform on the internet, there's something called free music. Free music means it's really free. You can use it as your own without even knowing who the musician is. And there is something called royalty-free music. Now, royalty-free music doesn't mean it is free. It's free to download, it's free to use, but you have to acknowledge the musician. And there is paid music, out and out, you have to pay for that. And within all these three, the original work remains with the copyright issue, what we say, remains with the original musician. Even in photographs, if I click the photograph, that copyright remains with me. I can sell the photograph. You can buy, but still the copyright remains with me. So this music business has really taught me a lot, like free music, royalty-free music, and a paid music. That is how it works.
True. So any other question from?
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah, sure.
So just on the photographs. So usually what we do is that we copy paste into the PowerPoint presentations. You know, that's the easiest way to do it. You open a photograph, you copy it and you paste it. And that just kind of increases the size of your presentation. And if you want to email it or you want to store it, it just increases the size. So is there a way of, reducing the size of the presentation once you made it? Because, the way that I know is that you use the software and you insert the photograph and you reduce the size, but that's extremely cumbersome. So if you've kind of made a presentation already, which is a big size, and is there a way of shrinking the size to email it or to store it without, taking space?
So I think
you want me to answer that, Swapnil? Or you are answering it?
I'll give my take on it, and then you can give your take as well. So what I tend to do is, especially this is very true when you're sending it to conferences. Like, if you're you're loading your presentation for say CCOT or for the American Academy, you have to have a particular size of your presentation. So what you tend to do there is you actually get your images, whatever images are there, whatever videos are there, you try and get it in a different folder, then try and reduce the size of each of them and then kind of repaste it in a presentation. So that is the way I do it, so that it can be uploaded. Otherwise, it's very difficult to upload it on international, podiums and those platforms. The second way, of course, is you can zip it. And the third way, of course, you can send it via a third-party application, your presentations. Over to you, Neeraj.
Yes. Mandar, do you want to answer this or shall I do it? Mandar?
Sorry. Yeah, you go ahead.
So in the latest PowerPoint and the keynote, can I share my screen? I'll be able to show better, if you don't mind. So I'll just open the PowerPoint. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes. So for example, I'll just open this PowerPoint. Oh, sorry, it's already gone. So maybe this one. Yeah. So in the file section, there is something called as compressed pictures. Can you see this? Can you see the whole screen? So in this, I opened the file, I opened a PowerPoint, and in the file there is something called as compressed pictures. So when I click on compressed pictures, it can reduce the size to like this: on screen, print, HD. So even if you keep HD, or if you want to email, you can keep it in email capacity, and then you delete the cropped areas of the pictures, because there are many pictures which are deleted. So delete it and you do OK, and it will reduce the size of the presentation by one shot, just one small function.
But this can only be done for pictures, right? Not for videos, right?
Yeah, I'm not so sure about PowerPoint because I also use Keynote, but the same feature is there in the Keynote, and the Keynote also in Keynote you can actually reduce the videos also.
Can I add one more point here?
Yeah, sure.
If you are not using many of animations and nothing, just plain slides, best way would be to take screenshots. All the screenshots are PNGs. They are saved as images, and they can run both on Windows and Mac. So that is another way, not only to decrease the size of your presentation, but sometimes if you carry it in on Mac and carry it and organizers have Windows, the images will run in both Mac and Windows, plus the size is less. So taking a screenshot of all your slides, but of course the animations won't run. It's a sure shot that at least you will be able to present in whichever platform available, Mac or Windows. That is another way out.
So Swapnil, to answer your question, in the Keynote, it is in fact even much easier. In the file section, there is something called as reduce file size. You go here, and then if you want, you can do the movie quality into a draft quality smaller file. And you see my 166 megabyte file becomes a 58 megabyte. And same thing, scale down large images. And this is what you do. It's very simple. And you reduce into a copy, so the original file still remains the same. So this is very good for emailing.
Fantastic. I think we are short of time, so I would
Yeah,
request.
okay, we'll go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, we should go ahead. Yeah, we should go ahead. So
for the next session, yeah.
Yeah. So next session is by Dr. Kshitiz. Dr. Kshitiz, are you there?
I'm there.
Yeah.
I'll start my. Let me mute myself.
So he's going to be speaking on Evernote, which is a productivity app. Over to you, Kshitij.
Now I'm sharing my whole screen. So I am going to present from Evernote itself. So let me start the file. So Evernote is, can you see it now? If I do screen, or you can see this page.
Yes.
So I've shared the whole desktop, not just one window. So Evernote, I have been using Evernote since 2008, and I consider myself as a power user, and I actually pay for Evernote for the past 5 years, and I'm a premium subscriber. But to begin with, just for those of you who don't know what Evernote is, it is kind of a filing cabinet system, or like kind of a notebook where you can store notes and a lot of information gathered out from web pages or from your documents or the pages that you scan or anything that you tend to accumulate as paper in the house can go in Evernote. Example, receipts and CME certificates and documents like that. So essentially, it is like a filing cabinet system for me, and it is indispensable because I have gone paperless for the last 5 years, and I don't keep any papers in my house at all. So essentially, there are 3 ways in which you can use Evernote. If you can see, these are the 3 ways you can use. The first way is the continuation of my brain. That's what I call, or the extension of my brain. And this is what I use Evernote for mostly. And the reason why I call it an extension of my brain is whatever information I want to store, but I don't want to remember, but I want an easy access to it from anywhere at any time. That part of information goes in Evernote. So without this, I will kind of get lost, and it's a big part of my workflow or productivity. So the first part is what I use Evernote maximum for. The second point is creating content. Like you can create a note, you can write a note, you can create a table, you can create a list, you can create a to-do notes, you can create reminders. But I think there are a lot of other softwares that can do this much better than Evernote. So I don't really use it so much to create content or type something completely from scratch. It is usually something that I store that has already been created in some other app or created by someone else, like a web page or an article or something like that. And the third aspect of Evernote is collaborate. So what you can do is you can share these notes with multiple team members, and different team members can work on that note and share notes between them, and it works quite well. But again, as I said, that there are other softwares that can do this much better than Evernote. So essentially, Evernote, the workhorse is basically its ability to quickly store information, and and allowing you to access that information very quickly from your mobile device, from your computer, or any platform that runs Evernote. Actually, Evernote is cross-platform. That means it works on Mac as well as Windows and Android and iOS. So with that brief overview, let me show you how the screen of Evernote looks. This is my Evernote screen, and it is divided into 3 panels. You can see this is the first one, this is the second, and this is the third one. So in the first panel that you see here, you will see a lot of sections which say what are the different contents of my Evernote account. And it's a free account that you can create, like how you create an email account. So in the all notes section, these are all the notes that I have in my Evernote. I have around 6,000 or 7,000 notes. And this is just a list of all the notes that I have in Evernote. And you can see that they are categorized in different notebooks. And you can see different categories. They can be receipts, web profile, favorite tweets, inbox, and something to do with my car, quotations, and that kind of, they are in individual notebooks. But if I click here, you will be able to see that the first note I created in 2009, and this is the note. And so I can sort these notes according to the date of creation, the title. This is the notebook that I have filed that note in. And if I go here, you will be able to see that I have 76 notebooks in my Evernote. These are all the notebooks that I have in Evernote, and each notebook will have notes. So these are all notes, but each notebook will have a subset of those notes. And accordingly, I have categorized these notebooks as, for example, these are all my spine related notebooks, my work related notebooks, and I'll get back to it later. But just to show you an overview, this is how Evernote organizes all the notes into notebooks. And these are notes that are shared with me by some friends. And each note can be tagged. So these are all tag words or keywords, like how you have mesh words for paper articles. So these are like tag and keywords that I have used for individual notes. So if I click on the tag C1 lateral mass screw, it says 9. That means I have 9 notes that are related to C1 lateral mass screw. And if I double click on it, it will show me the 9 notes I created Some of them I've created in 2017, some in 2018, and the last one, in September 2019. So these are all related to C1 lateral mass screws. These are different pictures, photographs from either articles or whatever I found that it is interesting to store. I have kept them around. So that's the utility of tags. And I have not created these tags one fine day. It has taken me about 10 years to create these many tags. So I have over a period of time refined them and gotten them to work for me. So I remember these tags that way, and I can click on MMC. There are 8 MMC notes. That means these are all MMC registration notes of me and my family, my wife's. So that's how it works. So that's the first panel. The second panel, I have already told you that it's the list of the notes. Depends on what you have selected. If you have selected all notes, then it will show you all notes. And if you have selected a particular notebook like business cards, then these are all the business cards that I have stored in Evernote. And then the most extreme right part of the Evernote is the actual note. So here you can have a note like the one which I was presenting with this Evernote webinar. Here you can type something or create a to-do list or say buy headphones, like such kind of lists you can make. And this is what I was meant by saying you can create your content. You can change the font size, make something bold or italics. You can even create a table like this and fill up the table with text, depends on what you want to use this for. So the note is kind of a place where you can either create content or store content. Even you can even store an audio, like if you're sitting in a lecture hall and you want to record the audio so that you can listen to it carefully at a later time, you can record the audio like this, and that audio will be tagged to this note so that if you want to listen to that note again, you can listen to it. So there are a lot of multimedia features of these notes. You can drag and drop pictures in this note, audio, URLs, websites, and so many different features you can create a particular note. So with that brief overview of Evernote, let me show you how I use Evernote by giving you an example of how I use it for spine and for orthopedics. So this is my spine stack, which means that the spine stack is a collection of notebooks that I have created, which are my work related notebooks. So the first notebook I have is algorithms. So whenever in an article I find an algorithm which I like, I tend to screenshot it and keep it in Evernote. So you can see that this is an algorithm for atlantoaxial rotatory subluxation. And recently I was treating a patient who had this in the lockdown period. So I found this kind of algorithm which I liked very much. So I screenshotted it on 11th June 2020, and I put it in this Evernote, and I have written a little bit stuff about the algorithms. So I can refer to this at a later date. I have also tagged this as atlantoaxial rotatory subluxation. So if I search my notes for atlantoaxial rotatory subluxation, I'll get all the notes that I have created for this particular topic. So that way, whenever I find any algorithm, it goes into this notebook. So it's a good way of storing that information. So this second notebook I have is about anatomy. So any picture that I find is a very good depiction of anatomy, like normal anatomy, I tend to put it here. Many times I will put in a reference that where I have taken it from, because if I use this picture for a presentation, then I'll write it down that, okay, I have taken this picture from a particular source or from a particular program. So these are all, sometimes they are just Google images, and sometimes you can find really good stuff on Google. So over a period of years, I have collected really good anatomical diagrams related to spine. Not necessarily I use them for presentations. It can just be useful for yourself whenever you want to look up some anatomy. This third notebook I have is what I have labeled as brain extension. So let me know if I exceed my time, so because this is endless. So I'll just show you how I use Evernote, and then we'll end with that if my time runs out. So this is an example of a collection of miscellaneous things about spine. Like this is the pediatric dose of tramadol. This is different ways of giving ibuprofen in a pediatric patient. Depends on the weight of the child. These are different ventilator modes, just so that you can have an intelligent conversation when your patient is in ICU. You want to know what SIMV means and what volume control and pressure control means. So, I have kept like all this. I don't want to remember it, but if I need to know about it, I'll just look it up in Evernote. These are the sutures that I need for a dural repair. This is a video of a sliding knot that you can use for a traction, for cervical traction. So I found that on Twitter and I found it interesting. So I've stored it here. So that way, easy way to interpret ABGs. So that's my brain extensions. This is my notebook, which has only classifications. So this is a classification of os odontoideum. These are all the neurofibromatosis criteria. This is a classification for the nerve fibers. These are classification for the ASA grades. These are lower lumbar fracture classification. So you get a picture. The next notebook is clinical vignettes. In clinical vignettes, I usually store interesting images or interesting cases, rather not images, either taken from journal articles where you find that okay, this is a patient with scoliosis who got an add-on phenomenon, but I really don't know why it happened because the surgery seems to have been done well. So I've written, why did this happen? The surgeon looks like selected the right level to fuse. So it's a food for thought kind of a case that I have taken it from an article. Some of the cases I was involved in either as a fellow or as a trainee, and I used to store it here and write some key points that I learned about a case. This is an example of a Goldenhar syndrome. So essentially, you can keep images like a self-audit. If you want to keep, you can keep those kind of images here or any interesting case. So this was a spine sarcoma patient who eventually died, couldn't get operated. But if it doesn't go into your operative record or the place where you keep record, but you just want to keep, you want that case as to remember a particular point, you can keep, this is where I keep that case. Then cliparts are all nice photographs related to spine. If I find on internet, there's a good painting of the spine. This is the Andre Street logo, which I use very commonly. All my CME certificates go here. I never keep a CME certificate like a physical copy. I immediately scan it and it goes in Evernote, and I tear it and throw it off because you really don't need the original CME certificate. These are all ICD-10 codes for different spine disorders. Sometimes I want to devise a new retractor, or I have an idea about a new instrument, and so I might take a photograph and kind of work on it to get a new retractor made. So that goes in equipment. These are all, the next notebook is about examination. So any interesting clinical examination finding, I might want to record and keep it here so that I can show it to residents and my fellows about how different signs are. These are all the PubMed articles which I want to eventually download and read full text of. So I have not gotten time to read about it. So it goes here temporarily. If I have time, I'll go back and download the full text and read it. This is a collection of key articles which I find that, okay, this is a important research paper which gives a good message. So I might write about the stasis study and what it was for and what did it show. So that kind of information goes in this notebook. These are different operations that I have stored. These are different patient education materials that I have stored. So if some, if I have to quickly share something with the patient, like what are good sources of calcium, I just go here and send this to the patient. So this is a calcium calculator, good sources of calcium. So that way I have a few good patient education pictures that I keep on sharing with patients whenever they want something. Like these are office stretches. Again, these are some slides. Sometimes in conferences, I heard that discussion before, but I am also guilty of taking photographs. But I always quote the person whom I have taken it from. Usually, it is, if I am taking a photograph, I am taking it for my learning myself. So this is Dr. Ketan Badani's slide, which I really liked. So I took a picture and it goes here. So epidural hematoma MRI characteristics. If I search on Evernote, I'll find Dr. Badani's slide here. These are different spine templates, pain diagrams, and lumbar spine examination templates. These are some content that I create for my blog. So you get the picture. So this is how I use it for spine. My work related stuff, I store my trips to my foreign trips, paperwork goes here. Some of my financial records are here. I store all my business cards here. And the as I said, that because the Evernote is so powerful in terms of uh, retrieval of data, that you don't have to store them in notebooks. All you have to do is make sure that you tag them correctly. So if you tag them correctly, and if you have even if you don't tag them correctly, you remember some part of the notebook,
we should move fast. ये थोड़ा सा lengthy हो रहा है क्षितिज का.
मेरा खत्म हो गया है सर. You will be able to retrieve it using the search function. So all you have to do is search what you want and you'll get that note. So that's how I use Evernote for how. That's it.
Thank you very much, Kshitij. Yeah. Yeah. Can you, Kshitij, stop sharing your screen? And what we can do is we can ask Dr. Dipit to start sharing his screen. In the meanwhile, if there are any questions from the audience, Dr. Rahul Katta will put them on to us. And we can try and have the combined answers to these sessions after Dr. Dipit speaks.
So I think we should proceed with Dr. Dipit. And
Dr. Dipit is an orthopedic surgeon attached to the HN Reliance Hospital. He is specializing in shoulder surgery, and he'll be speaking about movie editing and how you can edit the videos in your presentations. Over to you, Dipit.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Kenny, and good evening, everyone. I'll be speaking about the movie editing, and the editing purpose is to put it on YouTube eventually, or to share it in your presentation. So mostly I do it only on iMovie. So this entire thing that I'll be showing you is on iMovie editing. This is it's a Mac software, so you need to have a Mac, you need to have iMovie. It gives you very good functionality, and I'll be showing you a couple of steps how to do it very fast, only 10-15 minutes. However, I use it for open surgeries as well as for arthroscopies. The great part about the editing is you really need it for arthroscopy videos, for mixing two videos together, but for open surgeries as well. So let me just show you how I do it. Now, step one, how are you recording it? First of all, it depends on where you are placed. So I've tried recording on all sort of cameras, and our hospital has an overhead central camera. We can record by that. That also I've done. But the best way to record your surgeries and open surgeries is by a overhead camera, by a camera person, actually, a professional guy, and I call him, and that is the best way to do it, because he adjusts his camera according to your head position. Otherwise, even your top camera may sometimes shoot your head more than the surgery. The camera guy, that's his responsibility, and he tells you to move the head. He adjusts the camera, and there is a screen like you can see here, and you can adjust your field, the camera, to give a good vision. or this is actually a better professional camera, not available everywhere. But if you can have this, it's got a zoom feature. You can place it a little bit further away from the surgical field and take the camera right above your head. It records very well. And why I'm saying this is because you'll see the quality of videos that I show you. They are excellent. They are high definition. They cannot be matched. So now, first of all, how would you start? So you need to have iMovie, okay? And I'll show you a video how to do it. Now you need to start your iMovie first, okay? So I opened the iMovie. My iMovie is here. Then I'll make a library from the iMovie. So we go to File over here. And then we go to Library and we make a new library. So the first step is to make a library, and you preferably store or save your libraries in a hard disk, because these are large files. So I save all my libraries in a hard disk, in a separate 2 TB hard disk. And now I have multiple libraries, but that is the first step to go forward. Then what we do is, sorry, I'll just go ahead. Okay, now we'll work in the library. We'll create a movie and we'll import the media, which are the videos and which are the photos. So how we'll do it? Now you've made a library, so you need to open up the library. So here I'm opening up a library, iMovie library, and then now I'll be creating a new project. This is over here. So there are these multiple projects of multiple videos. So we'll start with a new project, sort of a new video editing that we are doing. So this will create a new movie file. Okay, and then now this is your space where you'll work. So this over here is the space where your raw videos will come. This is your screen where you will see what you're playing. And over here, bottom area is where your edited videos will go. Okay, so now first of all, we'll import the videos over here. So you click there, then you go where your videos are saved. So you import photographs as well as videos. Now your video should be .mov or .mp4 for iMovie. Otherwise, you'll have to convert it. Now this is one of the title slides which I saved as a photograph, and I'm importing it. So this is a photograph actually created out of PowerPoint. Then I'll be importing another photograph, and this we'll discuss later, but this is a photograph which is saved for a watermark. So I'll show you how to make a watermark also. So this is a file, photograph file, only with a text. Okay, this is a PNG file with only text, which will be used as a watermark file. So these are the two photographs that I've imported. Then again, I'm importing my videos now. So I'll go forward and now this, I'll be selecting all the videos. There may be multiple videos, there may be multiple clips. We'll select all of them and bring them to the library. Now this, having done this, we'll move forward. Okay, so now you've selected all the videos, and now your videos are over here, your photographs are over here. In fact, all the raw media files are over here. There could be videos, there could be photographs. Now these are all the raw files. Now we'll be editing these files over here. So okay, so I'll just move forward. this is the main step of splitting, slicing, or editing your videos. And then there are adjunct additional things to do, like transition, subtitles, voiceover, music, and all. We'll go ahead and I'll tell you how to do it. So this is where your editing takes place. Okay, so these are the multiple clips over here, or multiple video files. Now what I'll do is, first of all, I'll increase the size of the file. So this is, I'm zooming it, so the files are getting bigger. Okay. So I've zoomed all the video files, and so this has gone much bigger, so I can select better in a better way, and I can select few seconds of videos also. So this is like a 1 hour short video. Now I have to reduce it to 10 minutes or 6 minutes or whatever. Now I'll be selecting short clips, few second clips like this. Now how I'll be doing it, so you have to, this is how you do it. So R, and click and drag your left click. So you select a segment like this segment, and then this segment goes here. When you click on the plus, it goes back. So you select, then I'm selecting like this, then you click on plus, and so that segment or that clip comes down. This is the edited files. Now again, same thing. I've selected this file, this clip, and then I've clicked on plus. That file has come down. Okay, so I'm selecting all small multiple files which I want to see in my final 10 minutes or 6-minute video, and I'll be doing it in all the raw video files or the 1 hour video files that have been shot and which are unedited. So I've selected multiple small clips over here. So this is the selected multiple small clips which are seen like this. Okay. Now you added so many clips, but you still may edit them. Though there are still, this gives you many options to edit it still further. If you want to do even further selection and 10, for example, this is a 10-second video file. I'll break it down to 5 seconds or 6 seconds as per my choice, what I want to show, what I don't want to show. Only the important steps. I'll edit out the unnecessary steps. This is how I'll do it. Now, again, I'll do the same thing. Press click R. So I'll keep holding R. Then I'll hold down the left click and I'll drag. So this is how I'll drag. Then this gives me option by right clicking. I can delete this segment. This is one option. Then again, I will select a segment here. I could split it, or I can do multiple things. I can even trim it. So now I'm trimming. Now I'll do the same thing of selection. I'll select this particular segment and then I'll trim it. So the rest of the file has gone, rest of the clip has gone. So this is what I'll do with each and every small clip over here. It takes some time, but you can cut it down to few minutes as per what you want to show. And this is now, yes. So I'll have multiple clips, but all the clips that I want to show, only the main steps or the major steps, and cutting out the unnecessary steps. This is the purpose of the editing that I'm doing here. And when this is done, when it's done to your satisfaction, you move ahead. When you have all the clips down below over here, only the clips that you want to keep. Next, then, for example, you see these two clips, I'll add a transition between the two clips. There are multiple options. So you choose the option how you want one clip to go to next clip. Or if you don't want any transition, you can leave this step. But sometimes you can add a transition step, a transition over here, so it looks cool. Now, there are multiple ways to do it. So your transition is done. And then you'll move on to the next step. Okay. So, yeah. So once this is done, I'll move on to the subtitling. So there is subtitles over here. Okay. You can do this right now, or you can do this after voiceover, but I'll just show you how to do it. So what you need to do is you need to select which way you want your subtitles. Okay. So for example, I've selected any one of these. I've selected maybe this one. Okay. Then I'll bring it down. I'll click and I'll drag it down and I'll put it on top of the video where I want these subtitles. So this is the video and I want it, the subtitles I want it over here. So I'll put the subtitle on top of the video. I'll click, drag down and leave it over here. So, and then I'll probably write over here whatever I want in the subtitle. So this is where I will write whatever I want in the subtitles. Okay. Right. So this is just adding the subtitles. I'll just move ahead. Okay. Now what we'll do is I'll give you more options to make your video better. So we'll add multiple subtitles, we'll add music, we'll add watermark and voiceover. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Okay, so let me show you this. Right. Okay, so now this subtitle, you've written something, but you want it to extend over many clips. So you'll just drag it or and make it as much longer as you want, few seconds, 50 seconds. Same thing over here. Okay. You keep adding multiple subtitles and you keep typing over here. So you keep the same format of the subtitles. So the subtitles, they come over here. You can change the color of the subtitles as per what looks better on the video, white or black, and keep the size small or not very small though, but you keep it somewhere like 60 or 80 so it's properly visible and readable. Then you change the color of the subtitle text as per whatever looks better. If this is a lighter background, I would put it black. If this is a black background, I'll put it white. So this is the subtitling going over here. Yep. Okay. Now, okay. So now next is to add sound. So always we do add sound. You have to add it through iTunes though. You can import your songs in iTunes or buy them. For example, I've got this Cecilia song. I'll take it from here and I'll put it over here. Okay. So I can then edit this whole clip like I'm editing other clips. I can keep a segment of this song. Then I can put another. Hello. Yeah.
Dr. Dipit, please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So this is the songs that I put in. Okay. So you can put in multiple small clips of songs over here. Right. And then what you do is you decrease the volume of these songs. Now, because you need a voiceover after that. So what you do is, sorry, where am I? Okay. So after you've added the songs, I will add the title photograph. Before the video starts, I add this photograph, which is actually a title slide from PowerPoint saved as an image. So you add this photograph over here. Okay. Just before the video. So when the video starts, it gives you an information of what the video is all about. Now, this has been done, next I'll add a watermark. So this is how you add a watermark. I already saved a file with just a text. This is done in preview. So then I've got this file, watermark file or the text file over here on top. And then I'll go and select this as picture in picture over here. So picture in picture then looks like this over here, and you can make it bigger and place the watermark wherever you want. So this is about watermark and the photograph. Now, the last step which I'll show you is also very interesting for arthroscopy surgeons. So what we do is sometimes we have two videos, and we have an outside video, we have an inside video. So how to do that in arthroscopy, which is what I'll show you right now. Okay. For example, let me just show you how to get the video. So I'll go to import again. Okay, I'll go to import. This is the button for import. I'll import the two videos and out. This is the inside video. Sorry. Okay, so I'll import the two videos which I want as picture in picture. So this is the inside video, and then I'll select another video which is the outside video. Those are all corresponding videos, but I've imported them. Okay, so these are the two videos that I've imported. One is an outside video and one is the inside. Now, so I'll bring the inside video over here and outside video on top of that. Of course, you'll have to correspond exactly. You'll have to do that as a really detailed step. Both the steps, both the video should be corresponding. Then after the video is imported and dragged over here, you will get an option to do a picture in picture or a split image. You do get that over here. Okay, so this is a split image, or you can do a picture in picture with a small video on top. Okay, so picture in picture, if you select the small video of outside video, this goes on one corner. If you select from here, if you select split screen, then the two videos are placed side by side, whichever way you want. And then you can split and splice both the videos exactly the same way that I've told you. You select one clip, then you splice it, edit it, then you select the other one, splice it, edit it. But they both have to correspond with each other. Both should be done beforehand. And after this is done, the last thing which I'll just show you is, if you have a video, you can even crop it over here. So, and you better crop it when it's in the raw video itself. So you select a video, then you go to this crop option over here. Then you select as much of the video as you want. You can even crop out somebody else's watermark if you want. Not asking you to do that, but I'm just showing you can crop any video. So you crop it and select the size of the or the part of the video that you need to keep, and then you hit enter and it will crop out the outside area. This is the basic features which I can tell you makes your video looks good. And if you add video, then subtitles, voiceover, and also music, and then save it and export it, your video is ready to be published in YouTube. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Dipit. Dr. Rahul, do we have any questions?
No questions
Dr.
from
Kshitij?
audience, but I want to ask you questions from Dr. Dipit. So, with your presentation, my understanding is
Hello?
if you want to put some
I think
X-rays with the videos, so it is like the
Dr.
same
Rahul
picture in
is.
picture.
You can do that. You can do
Hello?
photograph over a video. So you can import a photograph like an X-ray photograph, and you can import a video file, and you can superimpose both of them. So one of them will be a picture in picture, like a small one on top, and the other one will be a main file, main video, a big video. Or you could do a split screen, both.
No, no. If you are doing some procedure, so the patient
Right.
X-rays, or sometimes we have Siam images with that.
Right.
So that should be put like a picture in picture mode, na?
Yes, if you have two images, if you
Yeah.
want to show both the images corresponding together, both of them together, you can put it picture in picture.
So another thing is everybody is not having the iMovies because it's not using
Yeah.
the Mac platforms. So
Right.
what other options are there? So there are few
In Windows
softwares.
also has it. I think Windows has a movie maker or something.
Yeah,
So
Windows Movie
that
Maker.
one.
Movie Maker is, but the features are different. What you told
Features
is
are
something
less, of course.
less.
Yeah, and Wondershare also. I think there are many options. This one is working for me. I've been using it since a long time.
So Dipit, can I answer that Windows thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the many people, though I don't use Windows much, I just have one Windows laptop as a accessory. So the main thing is that in Windows, the Wondershare Filmora works really well. Ashok has been using it for all the editing of Ortho TV. So Windows and the Mac also has a software Wondershare Filmora. So I think I have written down in the chat for everyone who is using Windows, Wondershare Filmora is the software to use. Dipit, how easy it is to trim a middle part of the video. What happens is that sometimes you have taken a video, the beginning is very good and the ending is very good, but there is some 1 minute or maybe few seconds in the middle part of the video which is not so good and we want it removed. So is it very easy to remove, or you break the video and then you remove it and then you put the second part of the video? How do you do it?
No, so you select the clip that you want to keep by this technique of, it's the basic thing of holding the R and left click and then dragging. So you can select whichever segment you want to keep by that. Any segment, any big segment as well. So you just keep on dragging, and after that it gives you an option to trim that, which is like keeping that segment, or you can
So
split it.
one thing I just want to add to what Dipit said is that you cannot really edit a video which has been shot badly. You have to remember that.
Yeah.
Like you may have a very good video which gives you time to edit it, and you may have a very badly shot video and you can't really edit it. So the way around this is to be very, very careful when you're actually getting the video shot. And there is something called a storyboard. So what people who shoot films do is that they make a kind of a storyline and then they shoot it in parts. And I do the same. So what I do is when I ask a resident or somebody who's inside to shoot a video, and I do it on the iPhone, I always tell them start, stop, start, stop. So the 4 or 5 important steps is the only place where we shoot. Otherwise, we do not shoot. And for that, you have to be very comfortable. So you should not be doing the surgery for the first time. And once you have these 5 clips with you, which are reasonably good quality in the way the camera is held and in the way it has been shot, then you can kind of put them together and do it. But if you have an entire length of a video which goes on for 3 hours, it's very, very difficult to actually sit and edit it for a professional like us. So somewhere you have to create a storyboard right from the beginning that this is what I want to show. Then shoot those particular parts and then put it together. It makes your life really easy. This is what I have been following.
Yeah, that's a very important thing. Yeah, Swapnil. Important tip. Moreover, orientation while shooting also has to be proper. That particular orientation you have to maintain throughout that shooting. Sometimes, in the in the portrait mode, sometimes in the landscape mode, then to mix those videos becomes difficult.
Yeah, that is.
One who is, he has to hold the camera either in the landscape mode or in the portrait mode and then shoot particular,
That's why I always use a professional cameraman for all my surgeries. Every time I just call him, he shoots everything. I don't have to worry about it. It's in high definition. It doesn't move, doesn't shake, and of course you have to edit it, but it gives you so much options.
With any tips about how to take videos for small incision surgeries? So most of my surgeries or Swapnil surgery may be very small incision. So how do you take videos for that? So what is
So
the
I've taken
camera angle?
small surgery videos as well, and like for example, it is there on my YouTube channel also. The cameraman that I mean, there are many options now. There's so many people ready. Now the camera that they bring, that's a high definitional. It's a professional camera. It zooms in, and it gives you a wide area. They really do it well. It's a very if you see my video, one of my videos, you can even see how sharp the blade is, like exactly at the tip. You even see that. So they zoom and give you a very good high definition. I don't do it by camera anymore. I've done it by sorry, I don't do it by phone anymore. I've done it by phone. I've done it by central camera of my hospital. That also is good, but not as good as the professional camera.
So one more tweak around that is a camera which is mounted on your spectacles, which is now made by Designs for Vision. I don't really know how long the battery lasts, but that is a good way for doing these small incision surgeries because it is exactly in the center. And if you have loops around, then you can actually always keep yourself in the field of vision, and you can always have your incision in the field of vision. So that is one way around it.
Now, people who are doing it with a phone, there is a question of sterility. So there is a sterile cover available, which is not here, I think, in India. But I've ordered some. I've told somebody to get it. It's a professional made for iPhone covers for surgeries, sterile covers. So those are the best. I don't know how else you can do it without a sterile cover.
Yeah,
that's true. So any other questions?
I think we will move on to our last talk for the day, sir.
So thank you, Dr. Kshitij and Dr. Dipit, for a wonderful talks.
Thank you, sir.
And now we'd like to invite Dr. Darshil for his presentation.
While Dr. Darshil is sharing the screen, one question to Kshitij that how much space you can utilize? Is it unlimited space if you are licensed?
If you are on the free account,
yeah.
If you are on the free account, then you can use 60 MB per month.
Okay.
So which is not a lot, but if you pay for the premium account, which is around 1500 rupees for a year, that gives you 10 GB of upload per month, which is more than sufficient. It is too much actually. 10 GB per month, almost you'll never use. So the problem with the free account, it is only allows only 2 devices. That means if you are using on laptop and your phone, that's it. You can't use a third device. Okay. Whereas right now I have Evernote on my laptop, my iPad, on my phone, on my home computer. So all devices have Evernote. So the accessibility is important. If you are storing something and you want to look it up, you want to look it up with the device that you have in your hand. So that's why I pay 1500 rupees per year for it. But it stores everything, all my certificates, all my documents on our Evernote. There may be, you have to have a robust password and, make sure that you keep on changing it. But some people may not like storing everything on cloud, especially financial documents.
And you can access it from anywhere, any other computer, or it's
you can access it from any browser.
Yeah.
Any computer browser you can access it.
So if your device is crashed, then there is no problem.
No problem. It is on cloud.
Okay. Thank you.
Kshitij, I wanted to ask you a question. The images which you store there, they remain in the full quality, right?
Yes. So you can each note you can attach only 200 MB of media. So let's say if you are attaching a video that is more than 200 MB, it won't get attached. But photographs are never about 200 MB. So you can take a really good high quality photograph and put it inside and it is fine. But a video, if it is more than 200, it won't get attached.
So one last question before we go to Darshil. So I have three things: image, a PDF file, and PDF can be books or articles, and third is video. So your choice of storage. Where will you store what?
So is this related to patients or is it related to something else? So let me ask, let's
clinical. Let's keep it clinical only.
Let's keep it only for orthopedics. So if it is PDF about papers, then it goes into Mendeley. Mendeley is a bibliography software by Elsevier or Springer, I don't know, but it is free. At least certain limit is free. So all the PDFs go there. If it is a image of a patient like X-rays and all those things, then it goes into a folder in Dropbox. Because Evernote is like, it becomes very bloated when you start putting in images like that, and they're very difficult to search. So I normally rename the images according to the date they are taken, and they go into the folder in Dropbox. And which was the third thing you said?
Videos.
PDF, I said. PDF.
Videos.
Videos also goes into folder.
Dropbox. Books.
Of the patient's phone name.
Yeah.
The
Can we
patient's
just
name
move on? I think we have to.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we'll ask at the end. Sorry. Thank you.
Yeah. Dr. Darshil, can you proceed, please?
Am I audible?
Yes, Darshil. Continue.
Yeah. So good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Darshil Shah. Today I'll be talking about taming the social media. But before I begin, I'd just like to thank Rajasthan Orthopedic Surgeons Association and Bombay Orthopedic Society for giving me this opportunity to speak about this topic. Now, what exactly is social media? Social media is an online platform via which all of us can communicate, share information, or share content with users all across the globe. The common apps that come to our mind when we listen to the term are Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram. But I think as doctors, we need to use Twitter and LinkedIn to our advantage as well. Now, with the ever-evolving technology, there are a lot of number of users that are coming. There's a direct increase in the number of online users. Now, it makes it very important for us as doctors to integrate social media into our practice. Now, as you can see, the number of social media users in India is drastically on the rise. In 2015, there were 140 million users, whereas in the current year, the figure has more than doubled to around 380 million users, and it's only going to rise further. Now, just a brief statistics up. 8 out of 10 people use the internet for health-related information. About 60% people favor services which are very active online. So it is very important to be active online on social media or in generally during these times.
Dr. Darshil, your sound is a little muffled. I don't know what is the reason. It's not very. Yeah, you need to come closer to your laptop, I think.
All right. Yeah, sure. Yeah. So breaking the figures down further. So Facebook, about 8 out of 10 people are on Facebook. 80% of the social media users use Facebook as their primary platform. Now, during this talk, I'll be using Facebook as a prototype to just speak about social media. Now, what exactly is Facebook? Facebook, you can think of it as your own personal web space where you can broadcast yourself. It's essentially your own website. It can be used in a personal as well as professional manner. Now, as you can see on the left is my personal Facebook profile, and on the right is my professional Facebook page. Now, I use my Facebook profile to post personal posts, to add my close friends and stuff like that. Whereas on my professional page, it's dedicated for professional activity. There's very little personal stuff going on out there. Now, a lot of users and a lot of doctors would think that it's okay to post professional posts on your personal profile. Even though I would recommend against it, I would suggest that at least the least that they can do is, segregate your friends list into close friends and acquaintances. So that suppose if I want to post something which is personal in nature, like I want to find out which movies are there to watch over the weekend, then I can address this post to my close friends only, so that my other acquaintances or my patients don't really see those posts. And even after doing this, the disadvantage is that the Facebook algorithm works in such a way that even after taking these precautions, these posts may still land up coming to your others list or the acquaintances list that you've created. So I strongly suggest that you never add your patients on your personal profile, and that you have a dedicated professional page. Now, for people who are still not convinced, I'd like to give you two examples. Now, on the left, you can see that maybe I've given a talk on osteoarthritis at a conference, and I've excitingly posted a picture of it on my personal profile page. Now, you can see since I've added a patient as my friend, he's messaged saying, "Great going, sir." And the immediate post after that is from my very good childhood friend saying, "What bullshit, you missed my wedding for this." So, as you can see, there's a broad disconnect between the two posts. You would not want your patients to see the post that your friend has posted, even though it doesn't offend you and it's appropriate to you, but it just creates a broad disconnect between the two. On the right is a picture I posted when I'd gone on a holiday, and back home, a patient is trying constantly to get in touch with me. Now, he's been calling me continuously, but for some reason, my phone is not with me, maybe. And then he sees this picture posted by me on my personal profile. So what will go on in his mind is that the doctor is so busy that he can't answer my call, but he has time enough to post this picture online of him enjoying. So, you'll never be at peace if you add your patients on your professional page, on your personal page. So the golden rule is never add your patients to your personal page. If they send you a friend request, what I'd suggest is you politely reject and you guide them, or you reference them to your personal page, or your professional page, and you just ask them to follow you on that page. Now, why Facebook page? The basic reason is that there's no startup cost involved, and it requires very basic computing skills to set up a Facebook page. And this Facebook page allows you to connect to a wider audience. Like I've already mentioned, 80% of the social media users are already on Facebook. The Facebook has already established its presence. And not only that, the generation of users that use Facebook vary from the younger generation as well as the adults. Even the adults are actively using Facebook. So you can essentially connect to a wider audience while using Facebook. Now, before you begin making your Facebook page, I would suggest you take a couple of minutes to think of these things. What is your target audience? Whom are you trying to make this Facebook page for? Is it to educate your colleagues? Is it to post health related information for your patients? Or is it just for plain old marketing? Deciding what your purpose is will help you dictate the type of content you need to post on your page. So I think it's the first and the very important step for you to follow before you start making your own Facebook page. Now, most of us know what to do on a Facebook page, but what is important to know is what not to do on a Facebook page. So don't, like I mentioned already earlier, don't post personal pictures. Don't post pictures of you going on a vacation or getting married. It's just not appropriate. Obviously, this goes without saying, do not post religious posts. It's not only unethical, but it may even end up offending someone. Now, this is the last thing that you want to go, end up doing is you want to post political posts on your professional page. You don't want to do that. Now, I'd like to speak for a couple of minutes about patient privacy. So you should never post anything that would reveal the patient identity without taking the patient's consent. And even in situations, even when you have taken your patient's consent, you need to blur out their faces. You still cannot end up revealing the identity. So you need to be really careful of that. And in certain situations, just doing that also may not be enough. So as you can see, I posted a picture of an article stating how a Thane surgeon got arrested after posting a patient's treatment video on YouTube. Now, let's say, hypothetically speaking, there was only one surgeon in Thane. So by me not mentioning his name in this picture is not enough. Everyone will still know that, oh, there's only one surgeon in Thane, so obviously it's got to be him. So essentially, I've revealed his identity without willing to do so. What I should have ideally done is I should have omitted this, omitted the place out of it. So that'll keep his privacy maintained. Now, what most of us, we end up doing is we end up using a lot of medical terms. I think we should avoid using a lot of medical jargon. Keep it simple. That way, the patients will be able to connect with your post much better. Now, don't bombard your page with multiple posts. It'll just cause someone to unfollow you. Instead, keep your posts spaced out and informative. Now, this is a very important point. Do not delay in responding. Now, this is a page that my MBBS colleagues and I had made for these COVID times. And as you can see, what I'm trying to highlight is the response time. Now, Facebook displays the response time of every single page, on their homepage. So as you can see, we were very responsive to messages. Now, why is this important? Now, let's say if a patient wants to message you, if he sees that you reply after a day or two, he probably is not going to end up messaging you. He's going to probably seek that information from elsewhere, or use, speak to someone else, or use some other page. So it's very important for us to be, prompt on replying to patients' queries. Quick responses will encourage patients to message you. Now, what can be done on Facebook? It's really interesting that what all we can do on Facebook. You can connect all you can marry all your other social media accounts like Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. So essentially, Facebook becomes a one-stop shop for everything about you. A person can come to your Facebook page and be informed about all your other social media accounts or platforms. You can also display your subspecialties or your area of expertise on Facebook. And one good thing is that you can even connect your Facebook page to your WhatsApp account. So with a click of a button, the patient is able to get in touch with you. Now, this is a feature which I think is really nice and should be used widely. Now, the patients, Facebook enables the patients to set up appointments on the page from the page itself. Now, I'll show you a brief video. After a patient sets up an appointment, this is how my dashboard will be. Now, as you can see, I've got a couple of appointments coming up. After clicking on it, I can know more about the patient, why the patient is coming. And if need be, I can even cancel the appointment. Now, upon me canceling the appointment, Facebook will automatically send a message to the patient saying that the appointment is canceled and if they want to reschedule. Now, this is an area where you can see your appointment requests. And one more great feature about Facebook is that once a patient books his or her appointment, that appointment gets automatically synced into your Google Calendar. So it's really helpful. Now, as we all know about Facebook Messenger, it's just a little different in the professional page is how that you can set up these template answers. Now, upon opening your professional chat, you can set it up in a way that the patient, like I've done, like the patient is presented with 2 questions. Now, where does Dr. Shah consult or what does he specialize in? Now, upon clicking the first one, he's presented with a template answer, which I've already programmed and put it in the Facebook page. So it's quite helpful in that way. Now, what I'd suggest, I'll give you an example of an orthopedic surgeon from New York. His name is Dr. Howard Lux. Now, what he does is, or what he continues to do is, at the end of his day, he spends 5 minutes to transcribe all the commonly asked questions to him by his patients that particular day. So how this helps is, in the long run, it creates a database of questions. So the next time an online user Googles one of these questions, one of the commonly asked questions, there's a very high chance that his page is going to pop up. So essentially, he'll be drawing traffic to his page. Now, speaking of traffic, I think all of us should take advantage of the targeted advertising feature of Facebook, wherein you can promote your page on Facebook. After making a Facebook page, it's not that you're going to get traffic automatically. So, using this feature will be really helpful. And what I mean by the term targeted, what Facebook means by the word targeted is that you can tell Facebook that I want to show my ads only to say men from the age group of 20 to 60 years and staying in Mumbai. You can break it down to that detail. So it's really helpful. Now, talking quickly about WhatsApp Business. WhatsApp Business, I think it's a very important feature, and I think everyone should just integrate it into their practice. It's a very efficient way to interact with your patients. It kind of acts like your virtual assistant. I'll show you a couple of examples. Now, say a patient here is trying to contact me. Since I'm busy, WhatsApp Business will automatically send a message to the patient that I'm busy and I'll get back to them as soon as possible. Now, a patient has messaged me a question. Now, whenever I get time, sorry, 1 second. I'll go back. Now, whenever I am replying to the patient, instead of typing it again all over every single time, I can use the quick reply feature of WhatsApp, wherein suppose I've programmed it as OPD, where on typing that, there'll be a template which shows all the places where I'm currently attached to. So WhatsApp really helps in that manner. Now, as you can see, I punch in a couple of letters and automatically the template is there and I can just straight away send it. Another good feature about WhatsApp Business is that it allows you to display your professional information, your OPD timings, your email address, and everything of that sort. And one good feature that I'd like to highlight is that WhatsApp Business can even be linked to your landline number. You need not attach or link it to your mobile number all the time. So this really helps in a way that you can prevent your patients from contacting you at odd hours. You can maybe put in your clinic number in there, and even if they try to call you at 2 o'clock in the night, you're not going to be bothered. Now, finally, I'll just touch up about reviews. Now, having a page and being online is going to be a good thing and a bad thing. The positive side is that you're going to have a lot of positive reviews. About 80% of the reviews that are rated online are about 3.8. But you're going to have negative reviews as well. Now, we are not only rated for our personal practice or how we manage patients, but we are rated in totality. Now, what do I mean by that? You're going to be rated on the facility, on your clinic, on the staff, on the access, and on your communication skills. So it's really important that you train your staff to be polite with the patients and, teach them how to deal with patients who might be a little aggressive in talking. Now, quickly speaking about the do's, if you get a negative review, and it's not about if, it's when you get a negative review, you should not ignore the negative reviews. You should in fact invite the reviewer to give you a call, to meet with you in person, to try. So this will show that this will show the reviewer that you're trying to sort the matter out, and may even lead to them removing the negative comment from the page, from the page. And you'd be interested to know, interested to know that 92% of the people kind of do a background search on you before they come and see you. So 92% of the people will hesitate to use your service if it lacks reviews. So always encourage online reviews. And the last point, respond privately. Now, what do I mean by that is, if a patient comments something on a post that you made on your personal page, on your professional page, then do not reply to them in a way that, it'll disclose that that person is a patient. What I mean by that is, even acknowledging that that person is a patient online can lead to you breaking the patient-doctor confidentiality and can essentially get you in trouble. So again, the most important I would say is, don't take it personally. It's obviously natural for one to feel take it personally from time to time, but more often than not, we need to take a step back and just not take it to our mind. Like I already mentioned earlier, don't post patient information or even acknowledge the person as your patient online. Yeah. And don't ignore criticism. Try to see the issue from the patient's perspective and see if there's a way you can resolve the solution. This will really help your practice in the long run. And never ever ask your patients to delete the negative comments or or you delete the negative comments yourself. This is not only unethical and unprofessional, but it will look like a cover up, like you're trying to cover up. And the last point is, do not respond immediately. When a person posts a negative comment, we often, and especially when we're not wrong, we often feel very aggressive. We may get aggressive in the way we reply, and it might initiate a knee-jerk reaction. So what I would normally do is I'd formulate a response, revisit that response in a couple of hours, and then see if it's still appropriate for me to send it. If it just still sounds appropriate, then I'd send it to them. Now, just one last slide, just briefly speaking about other portals, which I think we as doctors should use. Coming to LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a professional networking website. So it's very good for knowledge and literature sharing and keeping in touch with all your professional colleagues. Now, Twitter is a micro-blogging site, but a very good thing about Twitter is by using hashtags. For example, say I want to look at what's going on or the talks happening about anterolateral ligament. So I use the hashtag anterolateral ligament, and I can essentially find various posts and get involved in a conversation with a surgeon maybe in the UK. So it's going to be really helpful in that way. And for surgeons who are wanting to educate their patients or their colleagues by videos, YouTube is the best platform. It's actually the world's second most powerful search engine after Google. So like I've said, we do not have a choice on whether we do social media. The question is how well we do it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Darshil. And I would request you to now stop your sharing.
Yes.
Very pertinent points you've raised. I'm pretty sure Dr. Rahul Katta has some inputs on advertising and social media, since he himself is a renowned medical legal expert in this country. So I would really go to him first, and then probably technical questions from others as well.
Yeah, so in the chat box also, I was looking some few queries regarding the advertisement and creating a business page by a doctor. So as per the MCI rulings and code of ethics, you cannot advertise, a doctor cannot advertise, but a hospital or a clinic can. So individually, you should not advertise in such a manner patient for yourself. So you can put the information, you can share the information, but you cannot advertise. You cannot advertise your skills, surgeries, other things. So you should refrain yourself from doing all these things. You may be in trouble. A clinic or a hospital can do it. You can maybe put some information regarding your knowledge, skills, and expertise, but not in form of some advertisement. So there are few instances where the MCI has given notices to the doctors. So that is very important. Any queries regarding this? Because it's a huge subject, so we can talk later on. Already it's a long time.
Yeah.
Right.
So there is one more question for Dr. Kshitiz Chaudhary. Somebody is asking whether the Evernote can be incorporated with the other apps or not.
Yes, so Evernote incorporates with a lot of apps. It depends on what you want to use it for. The most common place where you incorporate Evernote in is your web browser, because that's the place where you gather content. So there is a Evernote clipper that is available. So it's a web clipper. So you can use it on Firefox, Chrome, or Safari. And the web clipper, basically, let's say you are on PubMed and you want to take that abstract and store it in Evernote for you to see at it again. So you go to your abstract and then you click on that Evernote clipper, and that clip goes directly to Evernote. So that way, in my email also, there is an Evernote incorporation. So if there is an email that I want to store and want to keep it safe, so I'll just send that email to Evernote and not store it in my email address. So that's how I use Evernote.
So I think no more questions from the audience. Any of the panelists or any of the faculty is having questions? Otherwise, we have to sum up.
I think, sir, it's been a very good session, and I would really request you. I would really like to request the faculty to, I'm very thankful to them to basically summarize. I'm not going to go with each talk, but all I'm going to say is that in today's day and age, the digital orthopod has various profiles. There is a clinical profile, there is an academic profile, there is a surgical profile, and then there is a web profile. And I think we have tried to communicate and try to cover all these subjects in one capsule. And I really thank the Rajasthan Orthopedic Association for giving us the opportunity. And I hand over the proceedings to Dr. Rahul Katta.
So thank you, Swapnil. I'm very grateful to you if you have allowed us to participate at maybe doing a joint venture with Bombay Orthopedic Society with this a very good web symposium where all the faculties cover all the aspects in a short time. Basically, the first two talks with Dr. Mahesh Karde and Vaibhav was regarding the phishing and online security. The contents of talks are very good, very informative. Then the very special presentations for scientific presentation and PowerPoint and surgical video editing by you, Dr. Mandar and Dr. Dipit were also very informative, especially for the young surgeons, how to present, make their presentation, how to make the surgical videos. Dr. Kshitij also told us about something new, Evernote, which most of us were not knowing. It is a very useful tool. We should learn how to use it. And Dr. Darshil regarding the social media and its security and its utility. So at the end, I would like to thank Bombay Orthopedic Society President Dr. Mohanty sir and Secretary Dr. Swapnil to allow us to organize this webinar. I am thankful to all the faculties, all the panelists, both the panelists, Dr. Neeraj and Dr. Kapil, for their all the inputs and questions. Our channel partner, Vision Plus, who has organized, providing us platform, streaming it. Although there was some technical clutches in the initial phase, but at the end it was going smoothly. Thank you, everyone. Thanks to all attendees who have spared their time to attend this webinar. Thank you. Thank you so much from Rajasthan Orthopedic Surgeons Association.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr.